Chapter 11:23. Okay, then let's do it tonight, said Li Zicheng. He looked at his watch. There was still a long time to work on this matter. Okay, then let's do it tonight. Huang Xiaofei was also afraid of long delays, so he agreed readily. Of course, he did not know that what was waiting for him was a scam. He lied to Huang Lele, and Li Zicheng lied to him. This was a series of lies, but Li Zicheng was still unaware. Li Zicheng hung up the phone and began to get busy. First, he called his youngest son, Li Tianyu. Tianyu, how are you? Li Zicheng dialed Li Tianyu's phone. Father, the gold mine has been completely occupied by others, but it seems that General Kars has not recovered the gold mine. I think it is because their armed forces are too strong, so General Kars does not dare to act rashly. Li Tianyu analyzed. He did not know the relationship between General Kars and Yang Ming. He thought that General Kars was afraid of Yang Ming's armed forces, so he did not make a move. In fact, General Kars was afraid of Yang Ming. Of course, these armed forces were also a factor. Really? General Kars actually did not make a move? Li Zicheng was also very puzzled. This General Kars was simply bullying the weak and fearing the strong, but so what? In that kind of war-torn country, it was the law of the jungle. There were no rules. Whoever was stronger would be the boss. According to Li Tianyu, the other party's armed forces were very strong. It was normal for General Kars to be afraid. No, General Kars came in person later, but he did not recover the gold mine. Li Tianyu said, I don't know what happened after that. I have now withdrawn to our own iron mine. It is safe now. AI. Li Zicheng sighed and said, who made our strength not good enough? But that kind of place is definitely not a place where businessmen like us can play. Although the Li family also had a small armed force, it was just some strong men with rifles. It was enough to protect the safety of their little iron mine, but if they wanted to go to war with others, it was not enough to fill the gaps between the other party's teeth. Li Zicheng also understood that if his armed forces were strong enough, General Kars would not treat him with this attitude. Not to mention respect, at least there was some respect in his words. Now, he was completely humbling himself to please the other party. Thinking of the gap between them, Li Zicheng could only helplessly endure it. Fortunately, there was still the big head of the Huang family. He could still trick him. Father, what should we do now? Li Tianjia didn't want to give up just like that. He had always been in charge of his family's overseas business. However, there was only one iron mine in Country X, and the income was far worse than the family's local company. He thought that after this gold mine investment was successful, his status in the family would also rise, but it ended in failure. This was what he didn't want to see. What else can we do? Li Zicheng sighed. We can only put it aside for now. Ah. Is there no other way? Li Tianyu asked anxiously. Tianyu. Li Zicheng suddenly said earnestly, in fact, your father also knows what you are thinking. You want to use the investment in the gold mine in Country X in Africa to improve your status in the family business and let me notice you. Is that so? Li Tianyu was embarrassed and his father saw through his thoughts. He squeaked and denied, I didn't. Father, I also want to make money for the family. Hee, you don't have to deny it. Li Zicheng said with a smile, your father also understands your little thoughts. Your elder brother is a few years older than you, and he took over the company before you. No matter who it is, they will have emotions. It is understandable. Father. Li Tianyu refused to admit it and quickly wanted to deny it. Don't rush to deny it. Listen to me. Li Zicheng interrupted Li Tianyu's words and continued, in fact, you want to use the investment in Country X in Africa to increase your capital. This is understandable. However, Tianyu, you are still young. You don't have to be in a hurry. Your father's body is still very strong. I won't die in a short time, so you still have many opportunities to succeed. Father, I got it. Since his father had already understood his thoughts, Li Tianyu naturally couldn't deny it, so he nodded and admitted it. And, now I want you to cooperate with me to do something. If it is done well, the income will be much better than the income of your gold mine in country X. Li Ziqing said, if this matter is successful, I will give you a great merit. Good. Father, you can rest assured. I will definitely cooperate with you. Li Tianyu quickly said after listening, what is it? Father, you can say it. This is the case. Aren't we cooperating with the Huang family to contract the gold mine? The Huang family has already prepared the rent, 40 billion patakas, said Li Ziqing. Isn't the matter of the gold mine already impossible? What is the use of preparing the rent? Li Tianyu said without understanding. It is true that there is no need to pay General Kar's rent, but he can give the money to us. As Li Ziqing said this, he sneered and said, we, the Li family, have been working for so long. We can't be working for nothing, right? Father, you mean? Li Tianyu was stunned, and then he understood something. He trembled and said, Father, you want to swallow the Huang family's money? But how is this possible? What is impossible? As long as you cooperate well, then this impossible will become possible. Said Li Ziqing affirmatively. But, how do you want me to cooperate? The Huang family is not a fool. If the money is given to us, and he can't contract the gold mine, will he give up? Li Tianyu asked puzzledly. I took his money. Of course, he won't give up, but what about others? Li Ziqing snorted. For example, General Kars, what else can he do? Last time, he lost so much money and suffered such a big loss. He still didn't dare to speak up. Can't he swallow the bitterness in his stomach? Father, do you mean that you want to pretend that this money was accepted by General Kars? Is that so? Li Tianyu was not stupid. He immediately understood his father's meaning. But, if General Kars received the money, and the Huang family did not get the gold mine, can he do it? Can't he come and find it? General Kars went back on his word once. Can't he go back on his word a second time? Li Ziqing sneered. Besides, let's say that General Kars has agreed, but the gold mine is occupied by another group of armed forces who claim to be the Huang family. What can the Huang family do? If he has the ability, he can go to the armed forces and ask for the gold mine. But it works. Li Tianyu nodded after listening and said, but, isn't this a scam? It's not good, right? If the Huang family knows the truth. How can he know? Besides, the 40 billion patakas this time may be the last of the Huang family's assets and life-saving money. If this money is gone, the Huang family will be finished. In the future, there will be no Huang family in our business world. What is there to be afraid of? Li Ziqing said indifferently. This is also true. Li Tianyu thought about it and said, Hee, father, you are so astute. You don't suffer any losses. That's right. You brothers have to learn. Whoever learns to be as treacherous as me in the end can take over the family. Li Ziqing said, do business? You can't be too kind. That is the truth of all businessmen. Father, I understand. Just tell me what to do. Li Tianyu listened to his father's tone and said quickly. You go and send someone to open an account in a bank in Africa. It is best to forge an identity document and open an account in the name of General Kars so that the Huang family will not be suspicious. Li Ziqing said, this is the first step. There is no problem, right? No problem. Father, you can rest assured. This is a piece of cake. Li Tianyu promised. Well, then, you look at your men. Is there anyone who speaks like General Kars? Even if it is not very similar, it doesn't matter. Originally, Huang Xiaofei did not call General Kars, and it is normal for the voice transmitted through the phone to be distorted. He will not be suspicious. Huang Xiaofei said. Li Ziqing said, when the time comes, I will call you. You will pretend to be General Kars and deal with me. Okay. This is easy to handle. I will choose the best candidate in a while. Li Tianyu nodded and replied. But there is no way to determine the content of the conversation now because Huang Xiaofei is on the side. He may ask some questions. This requires you to adapt to the situation, but this is not a big problem for your IQ, right? Li Ziqing smiled. Don't worry, father. This is easy. I am the best at it. Li Tianyu promised. What you have to do is this. It seems simple, but don't make any mistakes. If so, our plan will fail. Li Ziqing advised. You don't have to worry about this. I will not let you down. Li Tianyu said. Li Ziqing said, and hung up the phone with relief. On this side, he had to plan how to tell Huang Xiaofei in a while. Old Buffon did not wait until the next morning. After returning to the room that night, he called the city's councillor, the owner of the opera house, Mr. Locklearing. Hello? Who is it? Locklearing rubbed his sleepy eyes and glanced at the clock on the bedside. It was more than 11 o'clock in the evening. Who is calling so late? So Locklearing's voice was not very friendly. It was no wonder. He was a rich man in the city, a member of the upper class, and a councillor of the city. It was natural for him to be arrogant. It's me, Old Buffon. Old Buffon introduced himself. Old Buffon? Who is it? Locklearing was stunned and immediately sobered up. Patriarch Buffon, is that you? It's me. Old Buffon said affirmatively. Ah. I'm sorry, Patriarch Buffon. I was a little confused when I slept. I was a little rude just now. I'm really sorry. Locklearing suddenly changed his expression. Yes, never mind him, even the mayor of the city was respectful when he saw Old Buffon. He did not dare to have the slightest neglect. With just a word, the mayor could step down, let alone a councillor like him. Besides, the music group that his head office belonged to was still controlled by Old Buffon's family. If it was really based on seniority, he was just a small underling. It doesn't matter. Old Buffon was eager to do things for Yang Ming, so he would not pursue these small details. There is a matter. Do you have tickets for Miss Shuya's concert? Ah. Locklearing was stunned. He thought, why would Patriarch Old Buffon go to the concert? But even though it was strange, he quickly said, yes, of course. I have as many tickets as you want. Although Shuya was not as popular in Europe as she was in Asia, she was also a very popular celebrity. Especially among young people, she was even more popular, so the ticket sales were still very hot. However, if Patriarch Old Buffon wanted tickets, there were as many as he wanted. Locklearing would rather not sell a whole concert ticket and give it all to Old Buffon. He was willing to do so. Even if the head office pursued it, Locklearing was not afraid. The chairman of the head office's chairman was respectful when he saw Old Buffon. Okay, help me reserve 4 tickets. The seats must be better. Old Buffon said, how much is it? I will ask my family to send it to you. This is a gift from me to you. Why do you still need money? How would Locklearing dare to ask for money? Besides, it was just 4 tickets. It was not a big deal. Then, I will accept it. Old Buffon did not say much. In his opinion, there was no need to decline back and forth because of these small things. Right, do you know which company is organizing Shuya's concert? The organizer is the parent company of our theater group, Xingmei Music Group. Locklearing said, however, the specific matters are handled by the local opera house. Patriarch Buffon, what can I do for you? This is the case. I have a very important guest. If we talk about it, he is also my elder. He likes Miss Shuya very much. Can you see if you can arrange for them to meet, said Old Buffon. This. Locklearing hesitated. He was very troubled in his heart, but he obviously misunderstood Old Buffon's meaning. Why? Is there a problem? Old Buffon asked, do you want me to say hello to Xingmei Music Group? That's not necessary. Lochlearing had to say truthfully, Patriarch Buffon, Miss Shuya is a VIP invited by us. She is not a singer under our music group. There are some things that we can't control. Miss Shuya's family is also very prominent. She was once invited by Miss Alice. If your friend treats her. When old Buffon heard Lochlearing say this, he suddenly laughed. Lochlearing. You misunderstood. I just said that I want you to create an opportunity for them to meet. It is just a simple meeting. There is no need to ask for anything else. Whether or not he can get Miss Shuya's favor completely depends on my friend himself. So that's the case. Lochlearing breathed a sigh of relief. He thought that Patriarch Old Buffon's friend wanted to play some unspoken rules, which made things difficult for him. After all, this was not a singer under his own company. He couldn't ask for anything from her. Then I am relieved. I'm sorry. I just misunderstood. You also know that in my position, there are many rich people looking for me to introduce small celebrities to them. Lochlearing apologized. Hee, I understand. Old Buffon didn't say anything. This is not a problem, right? No. I can invite you and your friend to participate in the celebration banquet. What do you think? Said Lochlearing. There are too many people at the celebration banquet. You see if there are any small banquets, such as a reception banquet. It is best if there are only a few people. Said Old Buffon. Okay, then I will arrange it. Said Lochlearing. After you arrange it, give me a call. My phone number is. This is my private phone number. You can just call directly. Old Buffon told Lochlearing his private phone number. Lochlearing suddenly had a burst of excitement. This is the private phone number of Patriarch Old Buffon. You know how many people want to have this phone number but can't. I actually have it. How can I not be happy? No matter what, I must do this matter well. Patriarch Old Buffon's request was not high. It was just to attend a banquet together. It was no big deal. Lochlearing hung up the phone and took out his work log. He recorded this matter and prepared to study it tomorrow. However, when Lochlearing just hung up the phone rang again. Lochlearing thought that it was still Old Buffon who called. He forgot to explain something, so he quickly picked up the phone respectfully. Do you have anything that I can help you with? Counselor Lochlearing, you did a good job. I called you with my son's phone. You are so polite when you see an unfamiliar number. I think you are a counselor who is close to the people. The voice of the city's mayor, Mark Vader, came from the phone. Hello, Mayor Mark Vader. Lochlearing was shocked. He thought to himself, what happened tonight? Why are all the big shots calling me? However, I didn't expect my respectful tone to get the mayor's approval. This made Lochlearing very happy. Counselor Lochlearing, I heard that your opera house is going to hold a concert recently, right? Said Mayor Mark Vader. This is the case, Mayor Mark Vader. Lochlearing said, it's the concert of the Asian star, Miss Shuya. That's not bad. I have something to trouble you. My son, Malajben, is a fan of Miss Shuya. I want to ask you for a few concert tickets. Said Mayor Mark Vader. No problem. Lochlearing quickly agreed. It's a small matter. I will send someone to send it to the mayor's office tomorrow. Chapter 11:24. Then I'll trouble you. Mayor Mark Vader said politely, there is one more thing. Can you see if you can arrange for my son and Miss Shuya to meet alone? This kid, Malajben, is very obsessed with Miss Shuya. This. Lochlearing was a little embarrassed. Mayor Mark Vader's family's young master, Malajben, was a typical playboy. He ran a trading company and had some money on hand, but he spent it all on pursuing starlets. There was almost no surplus in a year. However, Mark Vader only had one son at his old age, so he spoiled him very much. Fortunately, Mark Vader had a daughter who opened an investment company with good returns. Mark Vader didn't expect his son to have a great future. Why? Is there any difficulty? In Mayor Mark Vader's view, this wasn't a difficult thing at all. There were very few starlets who didn't love money. As long as they gave more money, they didn't have to worry about not being able to do it. Mayor Mark Vader, Miss Shuya is a foreign singer, and her family is prominent, so I can't ask for anything from her. Lochlearing explained. A foreign singer. Her family is prominent in the local area. There is no power here. Can't you just hint? In Mark Vader's view, with his own power, he didn't have to worry about Shuya not complying. Mayor Mark Vader, Miss Shuya is a VIP invited by Miss Alice, and Miss Alice is also her fan. If there is a problem. Lochlearing hinted. Ah. Mark Vader was shocked. He didn't expect Shuya to know Miss Alice. Then, this matter was difficult. Even if he was given another courage, he wouldn't dare to be disrespectful to Shuya anymore. The power that Miss Alice represented was not something that he could possibly resist. Is that so? Then, you see. Can you let them meet? It will be fine if they meet once. Otherwise, Malajben. AI, if that kid messes with me. Mark Vader said with a bitter smile. That's fine. Lochlearing said in his heart. Anyway, Patriarch Old Buffon also made the same request with me. At that time, I will arrange it uniformly. With Patriarch Old Buffon, I believe Malajben won't dare to be rash. That's good. Mark Vader breathed a sigh of relief. If this request was rejected, then he really had no place to put his face as the mayor. However, even if Lochlearing refused, Mark Vader couldn't say anything. After all, he was not as strong as Alice. Well, I will call you after I arrange it. Lochlearing said. Thank you for your trouble. Mayor Mark Vader said politely. Malajben. Is. Mark Vader frowned and said, how many times have I told you to knock on the door before entering? Have you forgotten? I'm sorry, Father. I'm just impatient. Malajben said indifferently. He didn't mean to apologize at all. Hee. Who asked you to be my father? If you don't help me, who will help me? Malajben smiled. Father, I have been coveting Shuya for a long time. I haven't tasted an Asian celebrity chick yet. Don't talk nonsense. Mark Vader glared at his son. I heard that Miss Shuya's family background is not ordinary. Your money is probably nothing in her eyes. Don't have any unrealistic illusions. Although I don't have much money, I have an identity. Don't I have you? Father Mayor. Malajben said disapprovingly, if Shuya wants to develop a career in Europe, she also needs connections, right? Who can have more connections than you? In short, don't mess around. Mark Vader warned, don't use force. Otherwise, if something happens, I can't help it. Look at what you said. When did I cause you trouble? Malajben said indifferently, didn't I settle it with money every time? Even if my money is not enough, isn't there still my sister? Our family assets will be ruined by you sooner or later. Mark Vader shook his head. He originally wanted to talk about Miss Alice, but he thought that his son would not know who Alice was. After saying it, it would seem that he was incompetent. He didn't want to lose face in front of his son, so he didn't mention much about Miss Alice. In his opinion, he had already instructed his son, so his son would definitely not mess around. No, a few days ago, I got in touch with the lieutenant governor's son. He wants to partner with me to do a big business. At that time, the money will come rolling in. Malajben said proudly. Mark Vader nodded. He didn't object to his son contacting the descendants of other politicians, especially when it came to doing business together. Mark Vader agreed with both hands. I have already talked to Roklos. He will arrange a small banquet for you to attend. Then, you can get in touch with Miss Shuya. It's not a private meeting. Malajben was slightly disappointed. This is already good. You know, although Lokcase is a counselor, his background is not worse than mine. He has the support of the May music group. If it weren't for his young age and unstable foundation, he might have been a candidate for the next mayor. Mark Vader said. Ha, I know. Malajben raised his hands and smiled. Okay, this is also fine. As long as I can meet her, I am not afraid that she will escape from my palm. Malajben did not put his father's words in his heart. He was a fearless young master. Especially after knowing the lieutenant governor's son, Savon Geese, Malajben felt even more arrogant. In this state, he could do whatever he wanted. After returning to his room, Malajben called Savon Geese on the phone. Malajben, it's so late. Why are you calling me? Don't you know that I am picking up girls? Savon Geese's cynical voice came from the phone, and the heavy metal music in the background. Obviously, he was in a place like a disco bar. Savon Geese, things are done. Roklos will arrange for us to attend a small cocktail party. Shuya will also attend. At that time, we can get close to her, said Malajben. Good job. Savon Geese nodded and said with satisfaction, you don't have to worry about other things. Just listen to my arrangements. That's for sure. Said Malajben. Well, that's it for now. Don't affect me picking up girls. Today, this girl is so hot. Oh. Savon Geese screamed. Malajben no longer bothered Savon Geese. He quickly hung up the phone, hummed a song, and played the game console. What's the matter with Shuya? Wang Xiaoyan did not believe that Yang Ming would be a groupie. Based on her feelings, there must be something between Yang Ming and Shuya. Yang Ming did not expect Wang Xiaoyan to be so sensitive. He just mentioned a few words to old Buffon, and Wang Xiaoyan guessed something. Yang Ming was a little emotional. Wang Xiaoyan had really changed. She was no longer as indifferent as before. He had to admit that she was becoming more and more like a little woman. She also had the emotions and haggard feelings that a woman in love should have. Although in many cases, she would suppress her emotions and would not make trouble with Yang Ming, Yang Ming could also feel the change in her mind. Yang Ming did not know whether this was good or bad, but one thing was certain. After Wang Xiaoyan returned to her true self, she became a lot happier. Therefore, Yang Ming would not deliberately avoid Wang Xiaoyan's occasional jealous questions. Because Yang Ming also knew that Wang Xiaoyan was just asking a lot of times, that was all. When she knew the answer she wanted, she would put these things behind her mind. She would not cry with Yang Ming because of this, and she would not add more troubles to herself because of this. This was the character that Yang Ming appreciated the most. But fortunately, Chen Mengyan was also developing in this direction, which made Yang Ming very pleased. Do you really want to know? Yang Ming asked with a smile. What do you think? Wang Xiaoyan rolled her eyes at Yang Ming and said, if you don't want to say it, then don't say it. Who cares? If you want to know, it's okay to tell you. Yang Ming sighed and slowly told the story of himself and Suya to Wang Xiaoyan. From the initial acquaintance to the forced separation, until the two met again in Macau, although the whole story seemed simple, it was full of twists and turns, joys and sorrows. For a time, Wang Xiaoyan listened attentively. When she heard what Wu Qiren did, Wang Xiaoyan couldn't help but grit her teeth. Tell me where he is. I will go back and kill him. He has already gotten the retribution he deserves. Otherwise, do you think I can still keep him? Yang Ming pinched Wang Xiaoyan's cute little face and couldn't help but laugh. That's true. Wang Xiaoyan nodded. You are better than me. I don't have to kill him. Later, she continued her concert tour. This stop was probably in Europe. The things after that haven't happened yet, so that's the end of it. Yang Ming said his experience of meeting Suya in one breath. In other words, when you went to Macau that time, you were actually looking for Shuya, and you met me by chance? Wang Xiaoyan asked with some surprise after listening. Yeah, when I saw you, an acquaintance, almost get killed, so I helped you. I didn't expect you to want to kill me. Yang Ming shrugged and said with a wry smile. You still say it. Who told you to always be perverted and take advantage of me? Wang Xiaoyan now thought of the past, and she felt a little sweet in her heart. The process of meeting Yang Ming can also be written into a novel, right? Before meeting Yang Ming, the word love did not exist in Wang Xiaoyan's life dictionary. Although there were times when there would be longing and anticipation, it was only a dream. However, after meeting Yang Ming, it completely subverted Wang Xiaoyan's previous ideas. Although Wang Xiaoyan felt that her love experience with Yang Ming was not perfect, she was very happy now. But thinking about it carefully, wasn't it a special experience when Yang Ming and I went from enemies to lovers? Isn't there a similar plot in many bubble romance dramas? Every time she thought of this, Wang Xiaoyan felt very satisfied. She felt that this month with Yang Ming was the happiest time in her life. If it could continue, it would be great. When did I take advantage of you? It's you who accidentally let me see your naked body every time. Yang Ming said with grievance. Forget it. Anyway, I am used to being looked at by you all the time. I am too lazy to pursue you. Wang Xiaoyan waved her hand and said generously, I didn't expect Suya to be your first girlfriend. I always thought it was Chen Mengyan. Hee hee. Yang Ming didn't know how to answer this question, so he could only laugh twice. Okay, I won't make fun of you. Take advantage of this opportunity. Wang Xiaoyan said, it seems that Suya is more miserable than me. She can't see you more than a few times. I thought that my underground lover was miserable enough. You, are you still not satisfied? In fact, I have been with you for the longest time. In this month, I almost slept in your house every day. Yang Ming saw that Wang Xiaoyan took advantage of him and said helplessly. Isn't that because you want to develop a tacit understanding? Wang Xiaoyan smiled slyly. The two lived in a separate villa, and there were no outsiders around. It was just like home. They could do whatever they wanted, and they did not have to care about anything. So, the two resumed their previous life of developing tacit understanding. Huang Xiaofei had been dazzled by the glory in his vision, and he did not consider the consequences of things. Now, his mind was completely filled with the scene of a few years later, when he returned to his hometown in glory and became the object of envy. Indeed, if the gold mine was profitable and mined properly, it was not difficult to become the richest man in the city. After Huang Xiaofei adjusted his emotions, he went out of the study. He was afraid that his family would see his abnormality, especially Huang Lele, whom he had to avoid. Dad, are you going out? Huang Rongjin had learned from Huang Lele that his father had asked for the money. Huang Rongjin intuitively felt that his father changed a little too fast, so fast that it was somewhat incredible. Well, I am going to the company. Huang Xiaofei said with a normal expression. Okay, then you pay attention to your safety. Although Huang Rongjin was suspicious, he didn't see anything wrong, so he nodded and instructed. Besides, he had no right to interfere with his father's behavior. Huang Xiaofei went out of the villa and did not dare to ask the driver to drive. Instead, he went to the garage to get the car and drove to Li Zicheng's Li Group. Li Zicheng made an appointment with him to meet at the company at 4:30 in the afternoon. Huang Xiaofei had not driven for a long time, and he felt a little rusty. When he was waiting for the red light, he almost did not stop and hit the car in front of him. Fortunately, the light turned green at this time, and the car in front started, so there was no accident. Otherwise, if an accident really happened, it was inevitable that Huang Rongtian and the others would notice the commotion, and his plan might be ruined. This time, Huang Xiaofei began to be careful and did not dare to have the slightest carelessness. Finally, He safely parked the car in the parking lot of the Li Group, and Huang Xiaofei breathed a sigh of relief. If I knew it was so difficult, I would have taken a taxi. Huang Xiaofei complained. Hello, Mr. Huang. The security guard of the Li Group had long been instructed by Li Ziqing to greet Huang Xiaofei here. Although he wanted to cheat, he still had to do it on the surface. Do you know me? Huang Xiaofei was a little surprised. This was his first time coming to the Li Group. He did not expect the security guard here to know him. The chairman personally arranged for me to greet you here. I have seen your photo from the chairman, said the security guard respectfully. I see. This feeling of being valued made Huang Xiaofei very happy. When he walked, he was even more proud. You lead the way. I am going to find your chairman, Mr. Li. Okay, Mr. Huang, please come with me. The security guard politely nodded to Huang Xiaofei and led Huang Xiaofei in the direction of the elevator. They went directly to the top floor of the building, where the chairman's office was located. Please come here, Mr. Huang. The security guard led Huang Xiaofei to the door of an office and then bowed. You can go in. Huang Xiaofei nodded and knocked on the door. Li Ziqing's voice came from inside. Who is it? Please come in. Huang Xiaofei pushed open the door of the room and walked in. Li Ziqing saw that it was Huang Xiaofei and quickly stood up. Mr. Huang, you are here. Welcome. Huang Xiaofei saw that Li Ziqing's attitude was not bad, and he was very satisfied. After all, this was a cooperation between the two sides. If Li Ziqing was very strong, then he would not have any right to speak in the future. How is it? Has General Kars arranged everything? Mr. Huang, I have contacted General Kars. As long as the funds are in place, the contract can be faxed immediately, said Li Ziqing. That's great. Then let's do it quickly. Huang Xiaofei was also afraid of long delays, so he said quickly. Okay, I will call General Kars. Let's confirm it. Li Ziqing saw that Huang Xiaofei had already taken the bait, and he nodded happily. In a while, can you let me talk to General Kars? Huang Xiaofei did not think that Li Ziqing could lie to him, but he wanted to get close to General Kars. No problem. Li Ziqing agreed readily. Anyway, the other side had been arranged. He was not afraid that Huang Xiaofei could see through it. The reason why Li Ziqing was so fearless was that he knew that Huang Xiaofei had not directly dealt with General Kars, so he was unlikely to find any flaws. Chapter 1125. Li Ziqing picked up the phone and pretended to dial the newly applied phone number of his son, Li Tianyu, in Africa's country X. Seeing that the area codes were all in Africa, Huang Xiaofei did not suspect anything. After a while, the call was connected. Hello, this is General Kars government. What can I do for you? The speaker was a chick that Li Tianyu brought to Africa. She was Li Tianyu's lover. Otherwise, Li Tianyu's aesthetics would not be able to accept it. Li Tianyu had arranged for her to pretend to be General Kars' secretary to answer the phone, but in this way, she would know a lot of his family's secrets. It was impossible to get rid of her in the future. Li Tianyu's lover, Shaoli, also had the same idea. When she learned that Li Tianyu asked her to help participate in the fraud, she was very happy. Shaoli was a waitress in a karaoke hall. She had no family background, but she was beautiful. Li Tianyu liked her and brought her to Africa. She also knew that she was just Li Tianyu's lonely playmate. Sooner or later, Li Tianyu would get rid of her. However, she held the idea that she could live one day at a time because Li Tianyu gave her a lot of money every month. She had accumulated a lot of money, which was also a backup plan for herself. Now, since Li Tianyu let her participate in the family's business, it showed that Li Tianyu had developed trust in her. Moreover, Li Tianyu would not get rid of her in the future, so Shaoli was particularly excited. Li Tianyu couldn't help it. The only woman he could trust around him was Shaoli. If he didn't ask her to pretend to be General Kars' secretary, then who would? Anyway, Li Tianyu definitely couldn't marry Shaoli, but it was not impossible to be a long-term lover. Hello. I am Li Jiqing of the Li family in Singapore. Please help me to connect to General Kars. I have something to discuss with him. Li Jiqing said seriously. Okay, please wait a moment. Xiao Li said in fluent English. English was one of the official languages of Singapore, so there was no language barrier at all. After a while, Xiao Li's voice still came from the phone. Hello, Mr. Li, General Kars is in a meeting. I have made a record of your matter. General Kars will call you back later. That's good. Thank you for your trouble. Li Jiqing said solemnly, but in his heart, he was thinking, Tianyu is not bad. He even pretended to be a busy man by pretending to be General Kars. It really did seem like that. It seemed that this kid's brain was not bad, and he deserved to be praised. Li Jiqing thought. On the other hand, in Africa's country X, Li Tianyu anxiously cursed, fuck, why is Dinyo squatting in the toilet and not coming out? When it comes to important moments, they don't stop peeing or shitting. We are waiting for him to pretend to be General Kars. I don't know either. Li Tianyu's underling from Singapore, Xiao Lazy, said, should I go and take a look? Alright, hurry up and go. Pull him out of the toilet. Li Tianyu said angrily, motherfucker, we still have serious business here. What if he doesn't finish? Xiao Lazy asked hesitantly. If he's not done, then let him find a plastic bag and stuff it in his pants. Li Tianyu said angrily, anyway, no matter what, you get it for him. Okay. Xiao Lazy nodded and ran in the direction of the toilet. After a while, Xiao Lazy pulled a big man and ran over here. The big man was Dinyo, the person who pretended to be General Kars. Young Master Li, I'm sorry. Dinyo said embarrassedly. Okay, don't dawdle. Hurry up. Li Tianyu glared at him and said angrily. Okay. Dinyo said quickly. According to Li Tianyu's instructions, he dialed the phone number of the Li family in Singapore. Li Jiqing glanced at the caller ID and picked up the phone respectfully. Hello, I am Li Jiqing. Mr. Li. I am Karsi. Dinyo scratched his crotch and said in a serious tone. Hello. General Kars. Li Jiqing said sincerely, this kid, Tianyu, is not bad. The voice of the person he found is quite similar. They are all so rough. Suddenly, I will mistakenly think that it is the real General Kars. What's the matter? I was in a meeting just now. Dinyo said in his heart, I was in a meeting with peeing and shitting in the toilet. Ha! This is the case. It is still about the gold mine contract. Li Jiqing said, our funds are ready. When can you sign the contract? The contract. Dinyo glanced at Li Tianyu and said, now is fine. I will ask the secretary to fax the contract to you in a while. Okay. Li Jiqing quickly replied, right, my partner, Huang Xiaofei, wants to say a few words to you. Okay. General Kars agreed. After Li Jiqing covered the microphone of the phone, he said to Huang Xiaofei, don't you want to talk to General Kars? General Kars is waiting. Okay. Huang Xiaofei nodded and took the phone. He said respectfully, General Kars, hello. I am Huang Xiaofei. Hello. Dinyo said majestically. The gold mine matter, please. We are also sincere in cooperation. Said Huang Xiaofei. If you are not sincere, I can't contract the gold mine to you. Dinyo said according to Li Jiqing's hint. That is. Huang Xiaofei sighed. His previous money was in vain. This time, he hoped that General Kars would not step down. Well, that's it. We will transfer the money to you in a while. Okay. Then I will ask the secretary to fax the contract to you in a while, said Dinyo. Huang Xiaofei handed the phone to Li Jiqing. After Li Jiqing said a few words, he hung up the phone. At this moment, Huang Xiaofei was also relieved. After all, he had a direct conversation with General Kars. It didn't take long for the office to receive a fax signal from country X in Africa. The contract was sent over. Li Ziqing received the contract and asked the secretary to call the legal counsel over. In fact, this contract was drafted with the help of this legal counsel. After the legal counsel pretended to read the contract, he handed the contract to Li Ziqing and nodded. There is no problem. It is okay. Okay, then let's look at it again. Li Ziqing took the contract and placed it between himself and Huang Xiaofei. Huang Xiaofei also understood that this kind of contract was only effective for the interim government. Once the interim government changed its president and General Kars stepped down, the contract would become a piece of scrap paper. Glancing at it roughly, it was similar to the contract he had signed before. He nodded and said, "You see that there is no problem. Let's sign it." "Okay, if there is no problem, let's sign the contract," Li Ziqing said as he took out a signature pen. He first signed his name on the contract and then handed it to Huang Xiaofei. Huang Xiaofei took the signature pen, took a deep breath, and then signed his name on the contract. After all, the gold mine belonged to him again. How could he not be happy? After Huang Xiaofei signed, he handed the contract back to Li Ziqing. Li Ziqing took it. After checking that there was no mistake, he put the contract into the fax machine again and dialed General Kars' phone number. Soon, the phone was connected. The voice of General Kars' secretary, Shaoli, came from the other side. "Hello, this is General Kars' office." "Hello, I am Li Ziqing from the Li family in Singapore. We have signed a contract with General Kars. It is faxed to the fax number on your side. Please check it and help to pass it to General Kars," said Li Ziqing. "No problem. The contract has been received. I will pass it to General Kars," said Shaoli, hanging up the phone. Li Ziqing smiled at Huang Xiaofei and said, "Okay. It's done. Let's wait for General Kars' call, and then we can remit the money." Huang Xiaofei nodded and sat anxiously on the sofa, quietly waiting for the news. The matter of the gold mine had already annoyed him to the core. Now that the dust had finally settled, it could be considered a major event. This time, General Kars' call came very quickly. Li Ziqing picked up the phone and said, "Hello, General Kars. Have you received the contract?" "Yes, I have received it." General Kars said, "If there is no problem, I will give you my account. You can remit the contract rent to my account." "Okay, no problem. Go ahead," said Li Ziqing. "My account is..." "The account name is my name, Kars XXXX, said General Kars. "I have written it down. Let's check. The account is..." "The account name is Kars XXXX, right?" said Li Ziqing. "Yes, after you remit the money, just call my secretary," said General Kars. Okay, said Li Ziqing quickly. Hanging up the phone, Li Ziqing picked up the account number he had written down and said to Huang Xiaofei, "This is the account number. You can transfer the money first." "Is the account number correct?" Huang Xiaofei asked cautiously. "Don't make a mistake, or it will be over." "Yes. I confirmed it with General Kars. It is this account number." Li Ziqing nodded affirmatively. "That's good." Huang Xiaofei took the account number and said, "Then I will transfer the money. Do you have a computer with internet access here? I will log into the online bank and transfer the money to him." "Yes, my computer can do it." Li Ziqing pointed to the computer on his desk. "You can use this computer." Li Ziqing logged into his online bank. According to the account Li Ziqing had written down, he transferred 40 billion patakas to the account of General Kars and clicked the confirm button. After a while, the system prompted, "Transfer successful." At this point, all the money in the account was transferred to the account of General Kars. "Okay. The transfer is done. You can call General Kars' secretary and inform them that the money has been transferred." said Huang Xiaofei. He didn't know why, but he always felt a little nervous. Okay. Li Ziqing resisted the excitement in his heart. This was 40 billion patakas. It was so easy to get it in his hands. It was so exciting. I will call General Carr's secretary. Although Li Ziqing was too lazy to continue acting, he had to do it properly. So, he picked up the phone and called Xiao Li, the secretary of General Carr's. He told her that the money had been transferred to the account and asked her to check it. It's done. You can go back and wait for the good news. Li Ziqing smiled at Huang Xiaofei. I wish us a happy cooperation in the future. Okay. Then I will go back and wait for the news. When can I go to Africa's country X to receive the gold mine? Asked Huang Xiaofei. Wait for the reply from General Carr's. It may be in the next few days, said Li Ziqing perfunctorily. That's fine. I will go first. If there is news, contact me at any time. Huang Xiaofei stood up and was ready to leave. The more Huang Rongjin thought about it, the more he felt something was wrong, so he called his elder brother, Huang Rongtian. Huang Rongtian was in the company, preparing to get off work. At this time, he received a call from his younger brother. Hello, Rongjin, what's the matter? Brother, did father go to the company? Asked Huang Rongjin. The company? No, why did he go to the company? Isn't he at home? Asked Huang Rongtian. Previously, about half an hour ago, father said that he was going to the company. Didn't he go? After Huang Rongjin listened to Huang Rongtian's words, he faintly felt that something seemed to be wrong. No, I am almost off work. The people in the company are almost gone. What is he doing at this time? Said Huang Rongtian. Moreover, if father comes, my secretary will definitely inform me. What a joke. The chairman is coming to the company. Such a big thing, how can the secretary not tell Huang Rongtian? It's bad. Huang Rongjin's thoughts were verified, and he suddenly became nervous. Brother. Just now, father looked for little sister and said that he had figured it out. He no longer wanted to deal with the gold mine in Africa's country X. He was ready to do business in the country, so he took all the money in little sister's hands. After that, I saw that he was going out. I asked him where he was going, and he said he was going to the company. What? Lele gave all the money to father? Huang Rongtian was also shocked after listening. He was shocked. No way. Why did she give the money to him? AI. Don't you know what kind of person father is? He is very stubborn. Did he take the money to the Li family's people? What should I do? Huang Rongjin was also shocked after listening and asked quickly. I will go back now. You call father and ask where he is, said Huang Rongtian quickly. Okay, brother, then you come back quickly. I will call father. After listening to his brother's analysis, Huang Rongjin also knew that something had happened. After Huang Rongjin hung up the phone, he did not dare to delay. He immediately called his father's cell phone. Huang Xiaofei had just walked out of the Li's group at this time. He was about to get in the car when he heard his cell phone ring, so he picked it up. Hello? Rongjin? What's the matter? Said Huang Xiaofei. Father, where are you? Asked Huang Rongjin quickly. I am on the way home. I will be home soon. The matter had been done, so Huang Xiaofei didn't care. Then where did you go? Brother said that you didn't go to the company. Asked Huang Rongjin. Oh, I didn't go. I went to do something else. Huang Xiaofei said, why? What's the matter? That is. Huang Rongjin wanted to talk about the money, but after all, he was not in charge of the family business. The family business was in charge of the elder brother, so some things should be said by his elder brother. Okay, if there is nothing, I will hang up first. Huang Xiaofei got in the car and said, let's talk about it when we go home. I still have something important to announce to you. After that, he hung up the phone. When Huang Rongjin heard his father say that there was something important to announce, his heart suddenly went thump. This is not a good sign. What is the big thing? Huang Rongjin frowned and looked at the phone in his hand. He was a little uneasy. His intuition told him that what his father was going to say was definitely not a good thing. Not long after, the elder brother, Huang Rongtian, came home first. When he saw Huang Rongjin, he quickly asked, "Rongjin, how is it? Where did father go? Have you contacted him?" "I have contacted him." Huang Rongjin frowned and said, "Father said that he went to do something, and he has something important to announce to us when he comes home. I am afraid that he is going to deal with the gold mine again." "Ah. It's over. We are still one step too late. It's over now." Father must have gone to the Li family group. Huang Rongtian sighed and sat on the sofa helplessly. "Rongjin, why didn't you tell me earlier? I didn't expect father to go to the Li family group. Besides, how can I stop father from doing things?" Huang Rongjin shrugged and said with a bitter smile. Huang Rongtian nodded. "Indeed, what father wants to do, how can I stop him as his son? Even if Huang Rongjin told me earlier, it would take some time for me to come back. At that time, my father would have already left. Moreover, whether I can convince my father or not is another matter. At this point, I can only resign myself to fate. Everything can only wait for my father to come back and make a decision." After Huang Xiaofei left, Li Ziqing suddenly laughed. He laughed very happily and very treacherously. He finally succeeded. He thought that it would take a little trouble, but he did not expect that Huang Xiaofei was so easy to fool. He only made a few phone calls and drafted a fake contract, and he was successfully hooked. In fact, it was not that Huang Xiaofei's vigilance was poor. If he was really poor in vigilance, it was impossible to build such a big company. It was just that Huang Xiaofei's mind was recently thinking about the Country X gold mine. He had been dazzled by this matter and lost his mind. At this time, people often would not give up until they achieved their goal. Therefore, as long as the ultimate goal could be achieved, Huang Xiaofei had almost ignored the process, so it was so easy to be fooled by Li Ziqing. Chapter 1126. If it were other times, Huang Xiaofei would still be vigilant. How could he easily transfer so much money directly to a foreign account? Li Tianyu proudly listened to the cold female voice on the phone announcing the amount in his bank account, but at this moment, the voice became so sweet. Li Tianyu really wanted to listen to it a few more times. Did I succeed? Li Tianyu was very proud. He hugged his secretary, Shaoli, and kissed her on the cheek. Shaoli, you've done a great service this time. Don't worry. In the future, even if I, Li Tianyu, have to eat porridge and pickles, I won't leave you behind. Shaoli wanted Li Tianyu to say this sentence. After listening to Li Tianyu's promise, she was very happy. She finally integrated into the Li family and became a member of the family. She also made a great contribution to the family. Young Master Li, my performance is not bad. Daniel also scratched his head proudly and scratched his crotch. He said, my general course is not bad, right? And, your performance is not bad. Don't worry. I will definitely give you a bonus. Li Tianyu nodded and said. That's great. Thank you, young Master Li. Puff. Daniel farted and said with some embarrassment, young Master Li, I just pooped halfway. My stomach still hurts. Alright, hurry up and go. Li Tianyu laughed and scolded, you really can't do anything big. Hee hee. Young Master Li can do big things. We are young Master Li's followers. Daniel smiled and ran to the toilet. This kid. Li Tianyu shook his head. At this moment, the phone rang. After Li Tianyu made a silent gesture to Shaoli, he picked up the phone. Hello, how are you? This time, it was his private phone that rang, so there was no need to ask Shaoli to pick up the secretary who pretended to be General Kars. Tianyu, it's me. Li Ziqing's voice came from the phone. Father, hello. Li Tianyu said quickly, how was my performance? I didn't reveal any flaws, right? No, everything is fine. Especially before, your secretary said that General Kars is in a meeting and will call me back later. She said it very arrogantly. There was a sense of superiority like General Kars. Not bad, praise him. Li Ziqing said. Bang! Li Tianyu was stunned. He thought to himself, no way. Daniel said that because he was in the toilet. I didn't expect him to be so cool. But of course, he wouldn't say it out loud. He chuckled and said, yes, we've simulated it many times, striving for the best results. Well, but Tianyu, you've made a great contribution this time. Isn't this 40 billion patakas? Take out 100 million as your reward. Give it to your subordinates as a token of appreciation. Also, that little lover of yours is not bad. You should give her some appreciation. Li Ziqing was in a particularly good mood. In the past, he didn't look up to Shaoli, but today was different. Shaoli could be considered as a meritorious servant. Thank you, father. Li Tianyu was overjoyed when he heard that he could be given 100 million as a reward. He quickly thanked him. And, you don't have to thank me. Li Ziqing waved his hand and said, you just have to work harder. Don't worry, father. If there is such a thing in the future, tell me at any time. I will cooperate. Li Tianyu felt that this 100 million was so easy to earn. Shaoli was closer to Li Tianyu, so she heard Li Ziqing's words. When she heard Li Ziqing praise her, Shaoli was very happy. After Huang Xiaofei returned home, he found that his two sons were sitting on the sofa in the living room. He wondered, Rongtian, Rongjin, what are you two doing? Father, where did you go? Where is the money that little sister gave you? Why didn't it go to the company's account? Huang Rongtian had just checked the company's account, and there was no deposit at all. Hee, now that things have come to this, I won't hide it from you. Huang Xiaofei smiled and said, yes, I just went to the Li family group. I went to study the gold mine contracting. And Lele's money, I also used it on the gold mine contracting. Father, why are you so confused? After Huang Rongtian heard his father's words, he was shocked and angry. I have figured it out. Haven't you figured it out yet? The investment in Country X's gold mine is simply an unrealistic idea. Our Huang family doesn't have so much strength to play with Country X's affairs. If they want to play us to death, isn't it a matter of minutes? Yes, father. Huang Rongjin also said, isn't it good for us to do business honestly in China? Don't you still do well? It's useless for you to say this. I have already remitted the money to General Kars' account. The gold mine contracting has become a foregone conclusion. It can't be changed. Li Ziqing waved and said, you don't have to say any more. What? The money has already been remitted? How is it so fast? Huang Rongtian looked at his father incredulously after listening. What else is there to be unhappy about? It's just signing a contract and remitting the money. Isn't it done? Said Li Ziqing. Father, you mean, you didn't go to Country X in Africa, and you didn't see General Kars? You just remitted the money? Huang Rongtian suddenly frowned. Things had come to this point, and he couldn't change it. Now he was thinking about how to do things more securely. There is no need to go. The Li family has already contacted them. They will send the contract directly, and then fax it after signing it. Huang Xiaofei said, I will remit the money to General Kars' account. Isn't it done? Can that be accurate? Huang Rongtian frowned. The Li family won't lie to you, right? Lie to me? Huang Xiaofei was stunned. He really hadn't considered this issue before. It shouldn't be. Why would he lie to me? Moreover, he called General Kars in front of me. I also talked to General Kars personally. Can it be fake? Are you sure that it is General Kars? Huang Rongtian asked with some doubt. Huang Xiaofei was a little worried when Huang Rongtian said this. It should be, right? His secretary also helped to transfer the call. Where is the account given to you? Huang Rongtian couldn't help but be careful. After all, that was 40 billion. Now that what was done could not be undone, he had to be more secure. It's in Africa, and the account name is General Kars. Huang Xiaofei said, there should be no problem. I hope there is no problem. Huang Rongtian shook his head. Dad, how can you be so impulsive? It's not your turn to teach me. Do I still need to tell you what to do? Huang Xiaofei said impatiently, now that the contract has been contracted, what we have to study is how to manage the gold mine in country X in Africa, instead of complaining. Huang Rongtian looked helplessly at Huang Rongjin next to him. He sighed and nodded. Well, father, then you say it. Huang Xiaofei had been planning the new development ideas of country X's gold mine in the past few days, so he had already formed a very complete plan in his mind. Now that he said it, it was refreshing for Huang Rongtian and Huang Rongjin. Huang Xiaofei's plan was to increase the monthly gold output under the premise of sacrificing the total output. As a result, although the total mining time of the gold mine was reduced, the monthly income was greatly increased. It suddenly became twice the previous estimate. If this continued, the gold mine would recover its cost in less than 2 years, and it would be pure profit in the future. However, this plan was really effective in a war-torn country like Country X. Because this time, no one could guarantee how long General Kars would be in power, so the gold mine was still facing the danger of being taken back. Therefore, in the limited time, they had to increase the mining effort as much as possible to create more profits. After listening to his father's idea and analysis, Huang Rongtian slowly accepted his father's approach. If it was really as expected, then this business could still be done. Father, things have come to this point. I think we should still greet Lele first. After all, this money is hers. Huang Rongjin listened to his father's idea. Although he didn't know much about business, it sounded like it could make money, so he could only accept his father's approach. Well, you should tell Lele. You go and call Lele. Huang Xiaofei was not afraid that Huang Lele would regret. The money had already been remitted. Even if Huang Lele regretted, it would not help. After Huang Lele knew about this, she did not make a fuss with Huang Xiaofei. She just said, I know, and went back to her room. At this moment, Huang Lele was completely disappointed with her father. She did not expect that her father would actually fall to the point of cheating her money. Huang Lele did not have the mood to listen to her father's ideas. She would just let him be. If this could be exchanged for her father's guilt to her, and he would not interfere in her affairs from now on, then Huang Lele would be satisfied. However, for 2 days, Huang Xiaofei did not receive a call from Li Zicheng. He was a little anxious and quickly dialed Li Zicheng's phone. At this moment, Li Zicheng had already transferred the money in his account to a safe account through his own channels. He was not afraid of what Huang Xiaofei could do. Hello? Mr. Huang, what's the matter? Li Zicheng said. Mr. Li, how is the matter of the gold mine going? When can we go to Africa's country X to take over the gold mine? Huang Xiaofei asked anxiously. General Kars hasn't replied to me yet. I don't know. I think it may be soon. Li Zicheng said with a smile. He thought, mine? Mine my ass. That's good. Then you urged General Kars. If we leave earlier, won't we make money earlier? Said Huang Xiaofei. That's true. Okay, I will contact General Kars again, said Li Zicheng. If there is news, inform me immediately. Huang Xiaofei said. No problem. Li Zicheng said so, but but he said in his heart, wait. Wait for a lifetime. Even if you die, there will be no news. After waiting anxiously for a day, there was still no news from Li Zicheng. Huang Xiaofei's heart was also a little panicked. He quickly found Huang Rongtian and Huang Rong to analyze. Rongtian, Rongjin, you help me. Why is there still no news from General Kars? It has been a few days since the contract was signed. Logically, there should be no problem, right? Huang Xiaofei looked at his two sons anxiously and said. Father, what did the Li family say? Asked Huang Rongtian. I just called the Li family. Li Zicheng said that General Kars has not contacted him yet. Huang Xiaofei said, I asked him to take the initiative to contact General Kars. He said that he would give me news after contacting him. Then we can only wait for the news now. Huang Rongtian sighed. I am afraid that the Li family can't guarantee it. You reminded me before. I didn't take it seriously. Now that I think about it, it is really a bit difficult. No, I have to urge the Li family again. Having said this, Huang Xiaofei picked up the phone again and dialed Li Zicheng's phone number. Hello, Mr. Huang, you see, I just wanted to call you. Li Zicheng's voice came from the phone. Oh. Why? Do you want to call me, too? Asked Huang Xiaofei quickly. Yeah, this is the case. I called General Kars, and he said that there is a problem with the gold mine. Said Li Zicheng. How is the gold mine? When can we go? Asked Huang Xiaofei anxiously. There is a problem with the gold mine. General Kars is trying to solve it. Said Li Zicheng. Problem? What's the problem? Huang Xiaofei's heart tightened and asked quickly. The gold mine is occupied by an unknown armed force. General Kars is trying to drive this armed force away. Said Li Zicheng. Was it occupied? How can that be? We are the legal contractors. Huang Xiaofei was shocked and said quickly. We are the legal operating contractors. General Kars did not say that we are not. However, the gold mine is contracted to us. It is reasonable to say that this is already a private dispute. We should be the ones to drive away these armed forces. General Kars can help us solve it. It is already very good. He only did this because of my face. Then when can we go to the gold mine? Asked Huang Xiaofei. I don't know about this. It depends on the news from General Kars. Said Li Zicheng. Aya, what is going on? How can such a thing happen? Said Huang Xiaofei helplessly. I can't help it. Who knows? How can such a thing happen? Said Li Zicheng very helplessly. Well, if you have news, tell me as soon as possible. Huang Xiaofei had to hang up the phone. Father, how is it? What did the Li family say? Huang Rongtian also heard that something was wrong. After Huang Xiaofei hung up the phone, he quickly asked. Li Zicheng said that the gold mine was occupied by a group of armed forces. General Kars is trying to drive them away. Huang Xiaofei sighed and said. That won't do. This gold mine has been occupied. I don't know how long it will take to get it back. The contract fee has already been paid. Why don't we get the money back first? Huang Rongtian was also a little worried. Wouldn't this situation go down the drain again? Yes. No, I have to call Li Zicheng again and talk to him about this. Huang Xiaofei nodded, picked up the phone again, and dialed Li Zicheng's phone number. Hello? I say, Mr. Huang, why are you calling again? Li Zicheng also faintly felt that Huang Xiaofei seemed to have noticed something, but he was not sure, so he still spoke politely. This is the case, Mr. Li. You see, isn't country X in Africa at war? Can you see if you can talk to General Kars and return our money first? Huang Xiaofei asked tentatively, when things are done over there, can we remit the money? How is this possible? Do you think it is a child's game? You remit and return the money as you wish. General Kars is not a person who has nothing to do. How can he have the time to do these things for us? Li Zicheng flatly denied. Moreover, he has already contracted the gold mine to us at a very cheap price. If we do it over and over again, isn't it annoying? If he doesn't contract to us, what should we do? Besides, if we are so capricious, General Kars will be angry. He will not directly contract the gold mine to us, and the money will not be refunded. Won't we suffer in silence? Ah, this. Huang Xiaofei listened to Li Zicheng's words and began to worry. Indeed, this kind of war-torn country really could not be measured with common sense. So, let's wait for the result quietly. Li Zicheng saw that Huang Xiaofei was speechless, and he was very proud. If that's the case, then okay. Indeed, Huang Xiaofei didn't know what to say. He had to agree with Li Zicheng's statement. And, then that's it. I still have something to do. If there is new news, I will inform you as soon as possible, said Li Zicheng. Well, then that is the only way. Huang Xiaofei sighed. Now the initiative was completely in the hands of others. He had no way at all. Okay, let's not talk about it. I am in a meeting. As Li Zicheng spoke, he hung up the phone. Hello? Hello? Huang Xiaofei still wanted to say something, but he saw that Li Zicheng had hung up the phone. He had to take the phone away from his ear helplessly. Huang Xiaofei suddenly found that the phone's call time was still running. Did Li Zicheng not hang up the phone? Huang Xiaofei quickly put the phone on his ear again and said, Hello, hello? Mr. Li? Hey, Huang Xiaofei, this stupid thing. It seems that he hasn't realized that he was fooled. A man's voice came from the phone. It sounded like Li Zicheng's son, Li Tianjia. Yeah, I used the reason that General Kars would not refund the money to brush him off, but he will definitely call again. This time, the person who spoke was Li Zicheng. But what if he calls again? Asked Li Tianjia. Chapter 1127. Call again? Then let's call. If he urges me again, I will tell him that I have already urged General Kars. General Kars said to wait. Li Zicheng said indifferently. Then we can't keep pushing it like this. After a long time, Huang Xiaofei, the old man, will definitely doubt it, said Li Tianjia. That's true. Li Zicheng sneered. However, this is better. If he urges more, I will say that General Kars is impatient and broke the contract. The money will not be refunded, and the gold mine will not be given. In this way, isn't it over? This method is really good. Father, only you can think of it. Li Tianjia said after listening, in this way, we have no responsibility at all. The Huang family can only suffer again. Reasoning with General Kars will exhaust them to death. That's right, so our family has a net of 40 billion patakas. This business is so cost-effective. Only Huang Xiaofei can believe it. He has suffered a loss once. I didn't expect him to still be such a fool. Said Li Zicheng. If he is not a fool, how can he give us so much money for nothing? Li Tianjia laughed. Huang Xiaofei held the phone, and his whole body was trembling. He was going to explode. Li Zicheng actually made a scam to deceive him. What General Kars? What contract? All these seemed to be forged by Li Zicheng. Huang Rongtian and Huang Rongjin also heard the conversation on the phone because Huang Xiaofei directly turned on the hands-free mode of the phone. The faces of the family became extremely ugly. Huang Xiaofei yelled at the phone, Li Zicheng, you bastard, you dare to lie to me? However, there was no response from the other party. Obviously, Li Zicheng did not find out that his phone was not hung up, and Huang Xiaofei's voice could not reach his ears. Huang Xiaofei resisted his anger, hung up the phone, and then dialed Li Zicheng's phone again. Li Zicheng was talking to Li Tianjia when he saw the phone ring again. Seeing that it was Huang Xiaofei, he picked up the phone. Hello, Mr. Huang, what's the matter? Didn't I say that I am in a meeting? Meeting? Huang Xiaofei sneered. You are having a meeting to study how stupid I am, right? If I urge you again, you will say that General Kars broke the contract and is impatient, right? You. What do you mean? Li Ziqing was shocked and asked. What do you mean? Did you forget what you said just now? Huang Xiaofei snorted. Don't deny it. You didn't hang up the phone just now. I heard what you said. You heard everything? Li Ziqing was also shocked and asked. What do you think? Li Ziqing, what do you mean? You tell me clearly today. Otherwise, this is not over. Huang Xiaofei roared. Not done yet? Huh, how could it not be over? I'd like to hear it. When Li Ziqing saw that Huang Xiaofei knew about it, he simply tore his face. What do you want me to say? If you return the money to me, then this matter is settled. I won't hold you accountable for anything. If you don't return the money to me. Huang Xiaofei's words were interrupted by Li Ziqing before he finished. What if I don't return it? Li Ziqing sneered. Who did you give the money to? Did you give it to me? Your money was given to General Kars. Why don't you ask him for it? Why do you ask me for it? Are you sick? What General Kars? Isn't it your disguise? Huang Xiaofei questioned. Disguise? You gave the money to General Kars' account. What disguise? If you have the ability, go and sue General Kars. Don't say these useless things. Li Ziqing said calmly, evidence. Everything must be based on evidence. What evidence do you have to prove that I lied to you? You didn't give me the money. I am still a victim. I am your partner, and I also lost half of the gold mine. You. Huang Xiaofei was so angry that his whole body was trembling. His heart was suddenly in pain. Huang Xiaofei covered his heart and couldn't speak. Indeed, he had no evidence at all. He blamed himself for being blinded by the gold mine. He didn't even leave something like a receipt or cooperation certificate. He just muddle-headedly remitted the money to the account of a person named Kars XXXX. Psycho, don't call me if there is nothing. Li Ziqing said as he hung up the phone and turned off the phone directly. Huang Xiaofei only felt a rush of blood to his head, followed by a sharp beating of his heart, and then he didn't know anything, father. Huang Rongtian and Huang Rongjin saw that Huang Xiaofei had fainted and were shocked. They quickly went to check, but Huang Xiaofei was leaning on the sofa motionlessly. Huang Rongtian quickly took out the phone and dialed the emergency center. Then he said to Huang Rongjin, I have contacted the hospital. You go to the underground garage to get the car. We will send father to the hospital immediately. Okay. Huang Rongjin nodded and didn't dare to delay. He quickly picked up the car key and ran out of the house. Although Huang Rongtian and Huang Rongjin were extremely indignant about Li Ziqing's behavior, at this time, it was not the time to pursue their responsibilities. The most important thing was to send their father to the hospital first. They sent their father to the hospital, and Huang Xiaofei was pushed into the operating room. Huang Rongtian and Huang Rongjin waited anxiously outside the emergency room. Rongjin, this time, our Huang family can be said to be in a dead end. If father has another accident, it is hard to say if our Huang family can still occupy a place in Singapore's business circle. Huang Rongtian sighed and said, Father is really muddle-headed. Brother, now is not the time to complain. We should think about how to recover the loss. We can't let the Li family take advantage of it, right? Said Huang Rongjin. What can we do if we don't take advantage of it? Huang Rongtian also said very helplessly. Li Ziqing also said that we have no evidence. Father's money was remitted to Kars. It has nothing to do with him. He can only admit that he was cheated. I reckon that this matter is most likely hopeless. AI. Huang Rongjin listened to his brother's words and had to accept this reality helplessly. It couldn't be helped. Who asked his father to be so careless? His mind was muddled, and he gave the money to others. Right now, the most important thing is to get my father back to health. Otherwise, our Huang family is finished. Huang Rongtian anxiously looked at the emergency room, anxiously waiting. Finally, the lights in the emergency room went out, and several doctors walked out from inside. Huang Rongtian and Huang Rongjin quickly greeted them. "Doctor, how is my father's situation?" The head attending doctor glanced at Huang Rongtian and Huang Rongjin and said, "Are you the patient's children?" "The patient's situation is not very good. It has temporarily stabilized, but because of the anxiety, it caused a sudden cerebral hemorrhage. We need to perform a craniotomy immediately. Please sign on the operation sheet." Ah! Huang Rongtian and Huang Rongjin were shocked. Of course, they knew how serious a cerebral hemorrhage was. It would be fine if he recovered. Otherwise, he would be paralyzed or in a vegetative state. Well, don't waste time. Hurry up and make a decision. Who can make the decision? The doctor asked anxiously. The patient can't be delayed. Okay, I will sign it now. Huang Rongtian nodded quickly. He took the operation sheet and the signature pen handed over by the nurse on the side and signed his name on it. Then, please perform the surgery as soon as possible. Okay. After the doctor glanced at the operation sheet, he gathered people to perform the surgery for Huang Xiaofei. Huang Rongtian and Huang Rongjin were waiting outside the operating room with a sigh. "Brother, should we tell Lei about this?" Huang Rongjin thought that when he left in a hurry, he had not told Huang Lei yet. Huang Lei did not know about Huang Xiaofei's hospitalization. "Let's not talk about it first, lest Lei is worried. Let's wait until father is out of danger." Huang Rongtian thought about it and said, "All right." Huang Rongjin nodded. "Li Zicheng, I will never let you go." "What if you don't let him go? Do you want to kill him?" Huang Rongtian said helplessly, "At present, we really have no way to deal with Li Zicheng. We can't win the lawsuit, and we don't even have evidence." Huang Rongjin was just saying it. As his brother said, he really had no way. Littleya, Mr. Locklearing, the general manager of the Grand Theater, just came. Shuya's assistant, Su Li, returned to the hotel room and said to Shuya. "What's the matter?" asked Shuya. "He said that he wants to hold a small cocktail party tomorrow and invited you to attend. It's a welcome dinner for you," said Su Li. "Tell him to thank him for his kindness. I am a little tired. I have to take a good rest these 2 days so that I can have the energy to hold a concert," said Shuya. Littleya, this is not the main thing, but Locklearing hinted that there are several young people with strong backgrounds who are your fans. They want to meet you privately," said Su Li. Shuya immediately frowned after hearing it. "Why is the entertainment industry here like this?" Su Li suddenly smiled and said, "Littleya, the entertainment industry is like this. In Hong Kong, with Mr. Shu's power, no one dares to do anything to you. But here, if you want to get the support of these people, you have to deal with these powerful young masters." Shuya nodded slightly. Before it developed internationally, she had heard of similar unspoken rules in Hong Kong, but because of her family's strong background, few people would have ideas about her. But it was different abroad. If she wanted to develop, she had to go to social events. Shuya suddenly had a headache. Although she was reluctant, the other party's request was just to attend a cocktail party. Shuya could still reluctantly accept it. But if there were other requests, Shuya would not do anything out of line even if she did not want the European market. "Then you can reply to Mr. Locklearing. I will attend the cocktail party, but only the cocktail party. If there are other social events, I can't accompany you." Shuya hesitated and agreed. "Okay, I will reply to Mr. Locklearing." Su Li nodded, stood up, and went back to the room to call Locklearing. Back in the room, Su Li thought about her own words and dialed Locklearing's phone. In many cases, this kind of communication could only be done by the agent. Most celebrities were proud and would not easily bow their heads, especially international superstars like Shuya. However, many concert organizers and company people also had very deep backgrounds. The coordination between the two could only rely on the agent. Therefore, Su Li's conversation with Locklearing naturally could not be as tough as Shuya's. She had to find a suitable reason to persuade Locklearing. Mr. Locklearing? I am Miss Shuya's agent, Su Li, said Su Li. Hello, Miss Su Li. Locklearing said enthusiastically, what is Miss Shu's opinion? Miss Shu said that she just came here. She has not recovered from the jet lag, and she is a little tired. Su Li first said the objective reason, and then said, however, since it is Mr. Locklearing's invitation, Miss Shu said that she will naturally give you face. She will attend. Oh. That's great. Locklearing suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. When he heard Su Li say that before, he thought that things were hopeless. He was worried that he couldn't explain it to Patriarch Old Buffon and Mayor Mark Vader. Now that Shuya agreed, it was easy to handle. Miss Shu really gives me face. Miss Su Li, then tomorrow night, I will send a car to pick you up. Okay, but there is one thing I have to say in advance. Miss Shu is just attending the banquet. She will not attend other activities. Can you understand what I mean? Su Li hinted, Miss Shuya is not short of money. Her family is also very powerful, I understand this. How could Locklearing not understand Su Li's meaning? He quickly nodded and said, don't worry. She is just attending the banquet. Okay, then I am relieved. If there is nothing else, let's leave it at that. Asked Su Li. Wait a minute, Miss Su. I still have some things to tell you. Locklearing hesitated and said, these VIPs are very powerful. One of them is the guest of Mr. Buffon, the patriarch of the Buffon family, one of the most powerful families in Europe. The other one is the young master of the city's mayor, Mark Vader, and the young master of the lieutenant governor. They are all very powerful people, so I hope you can tell Miss Shu that she can take care of the overall situation tomorrow. Ah. Su Li did not expect that these young masters actually had such a background. This was what she did not expect before. She thought that she could just deal with it, but these people were not easy to deal with. Of course, Shuya did not realize how powerful the identity of Miss Alice's guest was, so she did not mention this to Su Li, which made Su Li a little worried. After all, these people had great power in the local area. Even if Shuya was very powerful in Hong Kong, she could not do it here. After Su Li told Shuya the identity of these people, Shuya was also very worried. After all, these people were not easy to deal with. It was enough to give Shuya a headache, but she had already promised. If she backed out now, it would not be good. It couldn't be helped. Although she was unwilling, Shuya still had to bite the bullet and attend this banquet. Shuya was really tired. Sometimes, she really wanted to quit the music industry and live a carefree life with Yang Ming, but she could only think about it. If she really did this, then not only would it hurt the hearts of hundreds of millions of fans, but it might not be a good thing for Yang Ming. Yang Ming was in the stage of career development, and Shuya did not want to give him too much pressure. Now, both of them were still young. If they wanted to enjoy life, there would be opportunities in the future. Therefore, Shuya still wanted to work hard for a few years. When Yang Ming really had a successful career, she would give up everything now. Master, the general manager of the Grand Theater here will hold a small banquet tomorrow. Miss Shuya will attend. I have already informed her. Master, you should also attend. Old Buffon said flatteringly. Ah. Yang Ming did not expect Old Buffon to arrange this. Yang Ming's original intention was not to meet Shuya directly, but he thought that Old Buffon was also kind, so it was not good to say anything, so he nodded and said, well, then we will attend together tomorrow. That's great. Old Buffon said, then I will arrange the car, and then ask someone to order some evening gowns and send them over. You don't have to do that. I will wear this. Yang Ming looked at his casual outfit and said, "It's not a formal occasion. It's just a small party. Isn't it the same what I wear?" "That's true." Old Buffon naturally listened to whatever Yang Ming said. Getting clothes for Yang Ming was completely out of respect, not out of consideration for Lochlering's face. Asking Yang Ming to give face to others? They were not worthy. Old Buffon naturally thought so in his heart. At 4:00 the next night, Old Buffon invited Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan to the extended Bentley. Old Buffon personally drove, and the three of them drove to the place where the banquet was held. Old Buffon knew that Yang Ming did not like to emphasize on ostentation, so he did not bring too many attendants. He did not even bring a driver. Only the three of them were very low-key. "Who else is attending this banquet?" asked Yang Ming. Yang Ming was not a good person. Naturally, he knew that the purpose of this banquet could not be as simple as welcoming Shuya. Since he could attend, there would definitely be other dignitaries attending. Therefore, Yang Ming needed to figure out who was at the banquet to prevent some people from harboring ill intentions towards Shuya. "I haven't investigated this." "Why, master? Is there anyone you don't want to see?" asked Old Buffon quickly. "That's not it. I want to see what other dignitaries are at this banquet," said Yang Ming. Chapter 11:28. "Oh, who cares who he is? Master, you can rest assured. As long as it is someone you like, I will see who dares to make a move," Old Buffon said confidently. Yang Ming nodded. He believed in Old Buffon's words. From the situation in the past few days, it could be seen how terrifying Old Buffon's local influence was. Although Old Buffon was respectful to him like a child, this was only in front of him. Yang Ming could naturally imagine how majestic he was in front of others. "With your words, I am relieved." Yang Ming knew that Old Buffon was also giving him a guarantee. In other words, in this world, no matter how big a problem Yang Ming caused, Old Buffon could settle it. Moreover, Old Buffon was also very willing to do something for Yang Ming. After all, he was Yang Ming's apprentice. He had to learn kung fu from Yang Ming. If he didn't often pay some tuition fees, he wouldn't feel at ease in his heart. This was a small private clubhouse. Its appearance looked very ordinary. It had a simple wall, a simple yard, and a simple door. It was just like an ordinary house without any noble luxury. But when the car drove in and came to the underground parking lot, it could be seen how luxurious it was. Inside the parking lot, there were some exquisite wall carvings and inlaid stones. Moreover, the cars parked here were also some world-famous cars. They were all brands and models that Yang Ming rarely saw. Most of them were limited edition and collector's editions. From this, it could be seen that the identity of the people who came to this clubhouse was not ordinary. Otherwise, ordinary people couldn't afford such a car. Even if they could afford it, it was impossible to get this kind of limited edition car without a certain identity and status. When Yang Ming and Old Buffon got out of the car, a middle-aged man with a beer belly ran over quickly. "Hello, Patriarch Buffon. I didn't expect you to come in person. And my guest's identity is not ordinary. I have to follow him at all times and listen to his instructions." Old Buffon nodded and said very calmly. In front of outsiders, Yang Ming didn't let Old Buffon call him master. After all, it was a bit weird. Although Old Buffon felt that it was a bit impolite, he would definitely do what Yang Ming told him. "Ah." Lochlering was shocked. Just now, his attention was completely focused on Old Buffon. He did not pay attention to the young man and woman next to Old Buffon. After listening to Old Buffon's words, Lochlering quickly reached out in front of Yang Ming. "Hello, sir, beautiful lady. Welcome to the private cocktail party hosted by me. I am Lochlering, the general manager of the XY Opera House." "Hello, Mr. Lochlering." Yang Ming reached out and shook Lochlering's hand gently before releasing it. Lochlering also felt Yang Ming's contempt, and from the fact that Yang Ming didn't introduce himself at all, Yang Ming didn't seem to put him in his eyes at all. However, Lochlering did not have the slightest displeasure. Instead, he felt that it was quite normal. Since old Buffon said that sentence, Lochlering could not guess the identity of Yang Ming. How many people in this world could let old Buffon be a follower? In Europe, there were very few people who could be on an equal footing with patriarch old Buffon, let alone people with a higher status than old Buffon. Even if the identity of patriarch old Buffon was more honorable, such as the country's prime minister or a member of the royal family, patriarch old Buffon would at most be respectful to them. It was impossible to follow around like a follower. However, what Lochlering couldn't figure out was that Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan were obviously Oriental people. Such people should have no intersection with patriarch old Buffon. Moreover, the two were so young. What kind of identity did they have to make patriarch old Buffon like this? However, Lochlering also knew that if old Buffon respected such a person, then he had to respect even more. Otherwise, they could kill him no matter what, so Lochlering's face always had a flattering smile. Originally, Lochlering wanted to introduce that the lieutenant governor's young master and the city's mayor's young master were in today's banquet. However, he thought that with patriarch old Buffon's identity, never mind the governor's and the mayor's young masters, even if the governor and the mayor were here, patriarch old Buffon might not be able to put them in his eyes, let alone the two mysterious friends around patriarch old Buffon. They even treated patriarch old Buffon as a follower. How could they pay attention to those small fries? Therefore, Lochlering was afraid that he would ask for a rebuff, so he stopped talking and did not introduce the guests inside. Has Miss Shuya arrived? Yang Ming glanced at Lochlering and asked. Not yet, but she will be here soon. Lochlering said quickly. However, for Yang Ming, Lochlering still had some headaches. Miss Shuya was a guest invited by the Alice, so this identity was already quite honorable. But for old Buffon, Miss Alice was just his junior. This name could not scare him. Now, patriarch old Buffon was respectful to Yang Ming, so Yang Ming should be even less interested in Miss Alice, so Lochlering had no idea what would happen in a while. It was easy to deal with the young masters of Mayor Mark Vader and the lieutenant governor. If they had any bad intentions, just a warning would be enough. But for Yang Ming, he really did not dare to say anything. Yang Ming, Wang Xiaoyan, and old Buffon followed Lochlering into the inner hall of the clubhouse. It was an ordinary clubhouse outside, but it was a different world inside. Yang Ming casually found a corner and sat down, while Wang Xiaoyan and old Buffon followed and sat next to Yang Ming. The banquet had not started yet. Lochlering still had a lot of things to do, but it was not good to leave, so he stood awkwardly. Yang Ming saw Lochlering's awkwardness, so he said, Mr. Lochlering, if you have anything to do, you can do it first. I prefer to be quiet. Okay, then I will go first. If you need anything, just call me. Lochlering smiled gratefully. Yang Ming gave him a way out so that he could leave here, which made him very happy. Although it was inconvenient to bring Wang Xiaoyan to see Shuya, Shuya would know about this sooner or later. Shuya knew that Yang Ming had other girlfriends. She did not make any extreme reaction, but accepted it calmly. So Yang Ming dared to attend this occasion with Wang Xiaoyan. Malajben, is the car ready for you? Asked Savon Geese. I am ready. I am driving the Mercedes-Benz RV. Malajben said with some hesitation, but, is it okay to take Shuya away here? You know, this is Lochlering's territory. He is a member of parliament. Even my father has to give in to him. Malajben remembered what his father said before. After all, Lochlering's identity and status were there. If he really messed around, it was hard to guarantee that Lochlering would not stop him. What are you afraid of? He is just a small member of parliament. Savon Geese said disdainfully, my father is the deputy governor. Does Lochlering dare not to give face? He won't offend me because of a small foreign star, right? That's true. Thinking of Savon Geese's identity, Malajben's courage grew. The car is parked in the parking lot downstairs. I have already gotten a bed in the back according to your instructions, and good job. Savon Geese nodded and said, how is the soundproofing performance of the car? Don't worry. It's very good. You won't be able to hear karaoke inside. Malajben said, Savon Geese, who do you think will take the lead in a while? What do you mean? Who takes the lead? Savon Geese did not quite understand Malajben's meaning. That is, who goes first. Malajben explained. Is it not the same who goes first? Why don't we play together? Savon Geese said with a lewd smile. Of course, it's different. Didn't you see the reports on the internet? It is said that Shuya is still a virgin. There has never been a scandal. Malajben whispered. Virgin? Is it true? Isn't it just hype? Savon Geese obviously didn't believe it. Now these little stars, many of them lie for hype. Isn't it just for hype? The Hollywood movie star that we played last time, didn't she declare that she was a virgin? Damn, it's almost ruined. I'm afraid that I will get sick. Savon Geese, this Shuya is really different. Her family is very powerful in Hong Kong. She doesn't need to rely on these things to gain fame. Malajben said with a knowing look, I have done a detailed investigation and bribed several entertainment media reporters. They have not gotten any news of Shuya and a man together. That is to say, Shuya is likely not to have even been in a relationship. Oh. That's interesting. Savon Geese's eyes suddenly lit up. Is your news true? If that was the case, that would be awesome. To be honest, I haven't played with a virgin star yet. Malajben snorted in his heart. He secretly thought, who isn't? But he also knew that he probably wouldn't be able to take the lead. It must be Savon Geese. Although he was not very happy, he had to make a normal expression on his face. Definitely. Let's check it in a while. It must be checked. Savon Geese nodded and said, then I won't be polite. I'll go first. Right, Malajben, you won't fight with me, right? Of course not. Malajben smiled against his heart. For this kind of good thing, of course, Savon Geese, you go first. Hey, do you think I don't know your thoughts? Savon Geese pretended to be obedient. You are afraid that something will happen, so you let me take the thunder in front, right? Not at all, not at all. Malajben scolded in his heart. So hypocritical. Is this still a big deal? Do I need you to take the thunder? But I can't say anything. My father is just a mayor, and his father is the lieutenant governor. Moreover, the most important thing is that Savon Geese has a large trading company. He has a lot of channels in his hands. Only by having a good relationship with him can he make his company bigger. Then, he can hold his head high in front of his father and sister, so Malajben had to continue to flatter Savon Geese at this moment. Do you think I don't know about your little tricks? Savon Geese snorted disdainfully, but he was also happy in his heart. This time, he made a lot of money. He felt cool just thinking about it. Right, Savon Geese, how do we do it in a while? It is not easy to get her into the car in public, said Malajben. Isn't this simple? While she is in the bathroom, let's follow her, said Savon Geese. This is a good idea. Malajben nodded and said, very good, then let's do this. Hee, it seems that I didn't come in vain today. It's very good. Savon Geese said with some pride, Malajben, you did a good job this time. Don't worry. I will give you the greatest help in the company. That's great. Malajben was overjoyed when he heard it. This was the result he wanted most. Everything else was fleeting. Only money was serious. With money, what could he not have? Why care about a woman? Thinking of this, Malajben immediately became happy. With the guarantee of Savon Geese, he was willing to let him go first. In fact, Savon Geese was not stupid. How could he not see Malajben's displeasure just now? So he was relieved and gave some care to Malajben about the trading company. You can rest assured. I won't treat you badly," said Savon Geese. "Who are the people here?" Yang Ming glanced at the people in the banquet hall and asked Old Buffon. "I don't know. Maybe they are some powerful young masters." Old Buffon looked at some young people in the banquet hall and said. With Old Buffon's identity, it was naturally impossible to know these powerful young masters. Old Buffon would not put their elders in his eyes, let alone talk about these people. Therefore, Old Buffon simply did not look at these people. In his eyes, there was only Yang Ming. Only by serving Yang Ming well, this was his intention. Yang Ming nodded and said with some sarcasm, "These people are probably coming for Shuya, right?" Old Buffon listened to Yang Ming's words and couldn't help but laugh. He thought, "Aren't you also coming for Miss Shuya?" However, in Old Buffon's view, it was normal for Yang Ming to have ideas about Shuya, but it was not okay for others to do so, so he said, "Do you need to find someone to drive them out?" "That's not necessary." Yang Ming shook his head and said faintly. In fact, Yang Ming was not the kind of person who bullied others. He would not be so overbearing as to clear out all the other people in that place. Yang Ming's main purpose was that if people did not offend him, he would not offend them. Therefore, in many cases, Yang Ming would not take the initiative to provoke anyone. However, if someone really provoked Yang Ming would never be soft-hearted. Previous experience and lessons told Yang Ming that he could not be soft-hearted to the enemy. If he could eliminate the root of the problem, he must not leave it behind. Old Buffon nodded. Since Yang Ming said that he did not need to drive these people away, he would not be nosy. He sat quietly, like an old butler. If those celebrities in Europe saw this scene now, they would be so shocked that their mouths would be wide open. How could Old Buffon become someone else's follower and butler? However, in the distance, although Lochering was busy with the things at hand, his eyes drifted to Yang Ming's table from time to time. The shock in his heart was indescribable. Finally, after Lochering arranged everything that should be paid attention to, he came to Yang Ming's table again. "Hello, Patriarch Buffon, and two distinguished guests. After introducing Miss Shuya, I will introduce a few guests present. Can I introduce you? Mr. Yang, what do you think?" Old Buffon turned his head to Yang Ming, which further confirmed the thoughts in Lochlering's heart. Yang Ming and others were not ordinary people. The uniqueness of their identities was probably unimaginable. "Forget it. I don't like these things." Yang Ming waved his hand and said to Lochering. "Patriarch Buffon, what about you?" Lochering nodded and asked Patriarch Old Buffon. "Mr. Yang has already said that he doesn't like these things. Why should I, as a follower, join in the fun?" Old Buffon glared and said angrily. He was annoyed that Lochering was so unobservant. Lochering was shocked and quickly said with a smile, sorry, then I won't bother you." After that, he quickly left. Lochering turned to Savon Geese and Malajben and said, "Two young masters, hello." "Uncle Lochering, hello." Savon Geese and Malajben smiled and greeted Lochering. Although their father had a higher status than Lochering, after all, it was the identity of their father. It was not theirs, so they still had to respect Lochering on the surface. No matter what, he was the host of the party and the city's counselor. "After I introduce Miss Shuya, I will introduce a few special guests of the party. You see, how about I introduce you too?" Lochering was not so polite to these two. After all, they were just two juniors. "Okay, that's great." Malajben agreed without thinking. "What do you say, Savon Geese?" "I was worried that there was no way to be in the limelight. This is a good opportunity." Savon Geese nodded. If he could hook Shuya in a normal way, he was still very willing. After all, the pleasure of rape was far less than that of flattery. So Savon Geese said, "Then, I will trouble Uncle Lochering to introduce us properly." "No problem." Lochering nodded. This was easy for him, and it did not violate any principles, so Lochering readily agreed. "Don't worry. I promise to let you two earn enough face in front of the beauty." Chapter 1129. Hee, thank you, Uncle Lochering. Malajben also said with a smile. Lochering nodded and turned to leave. He went to register other guests, but these were not important people. Lochering simply recorded them, and he didn't pay much attention to them. After all this, Lochering returned to the backstage. At this time, Shuya had already arrived and was putting on makeup in the backstage. Shuya's agent, Suli, was negotiating with the staff about the process of the banquet. "Hello, Miss Shuya." Lochering politely walked to Shuya, but because Shuya was being put on makeup by the makeup artist, she could not shake hands with him, so he bowed politely. "Hello, Mr. Lochering." Shuya nodded to Lochering. "It will take about 20 minutes, and my hair will be done." "Okay, then I will get ready here." "After 20 minutes, the banquet will officially begin," said Lochering. "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the private banquet hosted by me, Lochering. First of all, let's welcome our special guest star, Miss Shuya." After Lochering elegantly made a gesture of invitation, the lights in the venue suddenly focused behind Lochering. Shuya wore a white evening dress and walked toward Lochering like an angel. There was a burst of applause and cheers in the venue. However, there were also witnesses with bad intentions. They looked at Shuya lecherously. Savon Geese smacked his lips and said somewhat impatiently, "It turns out that the real person is much more beautiful than the poster. She is simply an elf who has fallen into the mortal world. She is so beautiful. Yeah, if I can have sex with her, it's fine even if I die." Malajben's breathing also became a little faster. Of course, the wretched dialogue of these two people did not affect anything. The atmosphere in the venue was still very warm and positive. Yang Ming sat quietly in the corner, admiring Shuya, his first love in childhood. Before Shuya went to Macau, she left a gift for Yang Ming. However, because Yang Ming was in a hurry to go to Macau to find Shuya, he never opened it. Later, after returning to Songjiang from Macau, Yang Ming put Shuya's gift in his home because of many things. He had not taken the time to go back, so until now, he still didn't know what Shuya gave him. Now that he saw Shuya, Yang Ming suddenly remembered the gift. It seemed that after he returned to China, he should go home. Even if it wasn't because of Shuya's gift, he had to go back to see his parents. Ever since he established his own business and bought a house outside, Yang Ming rarely returned to his parents' home. Although his parents' jobs were getting better and better, it couldn't replace the happiness of a family. Yang Ming decided to spend more time with his parents after he returned. After all, his parents were not young anymore. Thinking back to his high school days, it felt like a lifetime had passed. After more than a year, Yang Ming felt that he had really grown up. He was no longer as immature and hesitant as he was a year ago. Instead, it was replaced by shrewdness and decisiveness. Whether it was feelings or resentment, it was all the same. Yang Ming felt that if he went back to a year ago, he would definitely take down Zhao Ying on that moonlit night, instead of delaying and waiting until now with no result. It was the same for Wang Jitao. Not to mention that he framed Yang Ming and almost went to jail. Just the things he did to Zhou Jiejia were enough for Yang Ming to kill him. However, the potential enemy had always made Yang Ming feel a little uneasy. Who is the behind-the-scenes boss? This person seems to be very familiar with me, but the target doesn't seem to be me. Looking at Wang Xiaoyan next to him, Yang Ming was very confused. Several times, the boss actions were targeted at Wang Xiaoyan. After his own analysis and summary, the boss who targeted him and the boss who targeted Wang Xiaoyan should be the same person. However, in this way, Yang Ming was even more confused. He didn't know what the ultimate goal of the boss was. However, no matter what his ultimate goal was, if Yang Ming found him one day, he would not hesitate to kill him. However, Yang Ming thought so at the time. Some time later, when Yang Ming really met the behind-the-scenes boss, there was only shock left. Shuya walked gracefully to Locklering's side and smiled slightly to the people present. "Hello, everyone. I am very happy to make friends in a foreign country. I wish everyone a happy evening." Although Shuya smiled and spoke generously, Yang Ming saw a trace of helplessness and perfunctory attitude from her eyes. Suddenly, he felt sad. Yang Ming really wanted to rush up immediately, take Shuya away from here, and go home together. However, Yang Ming's reason was better than impulse. He also knew that doing this was not good for Shuya at present. He was destroying Shuya's career. In fact, girls who had a little opinion of their own were not willing to be a vase at home for the rest of their lives. Yang Ming also understood this very well, so he never interfered with their careers. Instead, he let them go and let them fight for their own world so that they would have no regrets in life. Shuya became a big star because she liked to sing. She liked to sing and wanted to bring her most beautiful voice to everyone. At this point, Yang Ming had already felt it when he was in junior high school. Shuya was completely born for art. She was a natural singer. Next, please allow me to introduce a few special guests in the venue. After introducing Shuya, Locklering began to introduce other people. Let's welcome our guest, the president of XY Company, the young master of the lieutenant governor, Mr. Savon Geese. When Savon Geese heard Locklering calling his name, he walked over happily. He pretended to wave to the people present as he walked, but the main purpose of doing so was to attract Shuya's attention. Many people present cheered, especially those single ladies. Naturally, they paid special attention to single aristocrats like Savon Geese. However, Shuya always stood aside with a shallow smile. She did not pay too much attention to Savon Geese. This made Savon Geese very depressed, and he secretly swore in his heart. "I must get this little girl into the car and let her pay the price of looking down on me." Next, I want to introduce the young master of the city's mayor, Mr. Malajben. Please invite Mr. Malajben to the stage. After Locklering introduced Savon Geese, it was naturally the city's young master's turn. For the second person to introduce himself, Malajben had no complaints at all. Who made Savon Geese's father not only stronger than his father, but his own company was also bigger than his own small company. From the fact that Locklering did not introduce his company, it could be seen how small Malajben's company was. It would only be shameful to say it out loud. However, the name of the mayor's young master was enough to attract attention. Malajben was also very proud to walk to Savon Geese's side and threw a wink at Shuya on the side. Locklering looked at Malajben's coquettish appearance and sighed helplessly, but he couldn't say anything. The banquet officially began. Although most of the people here were fans of Shuya, only those who dared to approach Shuya were the descendants of the powerful. Savon Geese and Malajben were the two most enthusiastic people. "Miss Shuya, welcome to our place. As the host here, I warmly welcome your arrival," Savon Geese said to Shuya shamelessly as if he was the lieutenant governor. Shuya was very disgusted with this kind of rich and powerful children. Their arrogant and conceited faces made Shuya very annoyed. But sometimes she had to face it. After all, this was not Hong Kong, not the territory of the family. Sometimes when she thought about it, the concert held in Songjiang was the most successful. No one dared to harass her. It was probably because of the presence of Yang Ming, the underworld boss, that such a scene would appear. "Hello, Mr. Savon Geese." Shuya politely greeted Savon Geese. "Miss Shuya, would you like to dance with me?" Savon Geese did not say more than a few words, and he showed his original lustful face. Shuya suddenly frowned. When she saw Savon Geese's appearance, she knew that he was not simply looking for her to dance. He definitely wanted to take advantage of her, so how could Shuya give him this opportunity? I'm sorry, Mr. Savon Geese. I just arrived in Europe for 2 days. I haven't gotten over the jet lag yet. Now I'm still very sore. I can't walk around at will. Shuya smiled slightly and said apologetically. Savon Geese listened to Shuya's words and suddenly felt that he had no face. Never mind this city, even in the entire state, there were very few people who did not give him face. So after Savon Geese was rejected, his face suddenly became a little ugly. However, because this was a public place, and it was Lochlering's territory, Savon Geese did not get angry on the spot. However, Savon Geese did not get angry, but Malajben was unwilling. This prince was the local tyrant. Seeing that Shuya did not give him face, he was immediately unhappy. Miss Shuya, have you thought about it? This is not Hong Kong. You don't even give face to Savon Geese? This was already a blatant threat. Shuya's expression suddenly changed after hearing it. Indeed, if she offended these people, her career here would become difficult. However, Shuya would never do it for the sake of her career and even sacrifice her body to please these people. Seeing that Shuya did not mean to compromise, but she was in a deadlock with Malajben, Savon Geese quickly mediated. He was also afraid that it would have a bad influence in public, so he winked at Malajben and said, "Forget it. Since Miss Shuya does not give face, then let's not embarrass her." When Malajben saw Savon Geese say this, he had to snort coldly. He closed his mouth bitterly and turned to leave with Savon Geese. "Savon Geese, why didn't you ask me to vent your anger for you? Could it be that in my dad's territory, we are still afraid of anyone?" Malajben said disdainfully. "Indeed, we are not afraid of anything, but this is a public place after all. We also have to pay attention to some of the influence. Otherwise, if we are caught, it will not be good." Savon Geese said, "As for getting Shuya, that chick, into the car, isn't it up to us? At that time, we can do whatever we want. Then, she can't sue us afterward, right?" Although Malajben was not afraid of anything, he was not a brainless person. After all, Shuya was an international celebrity, not an ordinary person. "Sue. Sue my ass." Savon Geese said disdainfully, "What is Shuya's identity?" "An international celebrity, a pure and innocent girl. If this matter is blown up, it will only affect her career. Does she dare to make it public?" "That's right." Malajben nodded after listening and said, "Then we will get in the car and kill her in a while. She dares not to give you face. This will let her know what the consequences are." "Hee hee, that's for sure." Savon Geese also nodded very lasciviously. "Is everything ready?" "What is it?" Malajben was stunned. "Knockout drug, idiot." Savon Geese glanced at Malajben and asked him to lower his voice. "Don't be so loud. Do you want others to hear it?" "Sorry, knockout drug. Of course, it is ready. It is in my pocket. When do you want to use it?" "Just give me an order," said Malajben. In a while, just act according to my signal," said Savon Geese. The behavior of the two people harassing Shuya naturally fell into the eyes of Yang Ming. Yang Ming quietly watched what the two people did. If they were slightly disrespectful, Yang Ming would definitely make a move. But fortunately, the two people just said a few words and left, so Yang Ming held back and did not move. Why are these two people so annoying? Wang Xiaoyan also saw the behavior of Malajben and Savon Geese harassing Shuya. Suddenly, she was disgusted. "Yang Ming, do you want me to find a chance to kill them?" After Yang Ming listened to Wang Xiaoyan's words, he suddenly sweated. An assassin is an assassin. Little girl Wang Xiaoyan's character is really tough. Fortunately, I am better than her in Kung Fu. Otherwise, I would have become a ghost under her knife. Not first. Let's wait and see. Yang Ming shook his head and smiled at Wang Xiaoyan. Don't kill people for no reason. Although it doesn't matter whether these two people are dead or not, it is not good for a girl to always talk about fighting and killing. Oh, then I won't say it in the future. Whoever is not pleasing to the eye, just kill them directly. Wang Xiaoyan deliberately pretended not to understand Yang Ming's words. Yang Ming was a little dumbfounded, but he had no way to deal with Wang Xiaoyan. Old Buffon also broke into a sweat as he listened. He thought, sure enough, she is the master's wife. She is indeed extraordinary. She can kill a person so quickly as if she is crushing an ant. However, that also proves that she has this strength. If people without strength want to kill others, they have to worry about whether they can be killed by others or not. For the consequences of Wang Xiaoyan killing Malajben and Savon Geese, old Buffon did not consider it. In his position, there was no need to consider these things. No matter how big the matter was, as long as it happened in Europe, old Buffon's family had a way to solve it. It didn't take long for the banquet to begin. The exquisite dishes were served one by the well-dressed chefs, and the waiters began to shuttle through the entire banquet venue. Sir, madam, what would you like to drink? A waiter walked to Yang Ming and others and asked politely. Juice. Yang Ming said casually. He came here just to see Shuya, that's all. He didn't come here to drink. Okay, sir, please wait a moment. After the waiter finished speaking, he went to prepare. At this time, Malajben and Savon Geese, each holding a wine glass, walked to Shuya again. Miss Shuya, it was my fault just now. I would like to toast you. Please forgive my previous rashness. Malajben came in front of Shuya and said very politely, changing his previous ugly face. Shuya was stunned. She did not expect Malajben's attitude to take a 180-degree turn. She looked at Malajben with some amazement. Sorry, I can't drink. Can I use juice instead? Looking at the wine glass raised by Malajben, Shuya said. Red wine is actually similar to juice. Savon Geese said on the side. Of course, he would not let Shuya drink juice because he had put the drug in the red wine. If Shuya drank the juice, then wouldn't his efforts be in vain? As he spoke, he did not wait for Shuya to refuse. He picked up an empty glass beside Shuya and personally filled a glass of red wine for Shuya. He handed it over and said, Miss Shuya, we sincerely apologize to you. Then, okay. Shuya had no choice but to take the wine glass. After all, the red wine was a low-alcohol wine. She could still accept it. Well, Miss Shuya is really a straightforward person. Then I will drink first. Malajben drank the wine in his hand into his stomach and said, You Easterners like to drink in one breath like this. At this point, Shuya had to drink. She had to pick up the wine glass and drink the red wine in the glass. Good. Malajben immediately cheered excitedly. Of course, most of the components in this were because Shuya drank the drug. Yang Ming's eyes never left Shuya. He naturally noticed that Malajben and Savon Geese appeared in front of Shuya again, but seeing that both of them were well behaved, he did not care much. How could he think that the two of them still had a conspiracy? After Shuya finished drinking, she saw that Savon Geese and Malajben still had not left, so she asked curiously, Is there anything else? Malajben and Savon Geese were waiting for the drug to work. How could they leave Shuya's side? If Shuya fainted in the hall and was sent to the hospital by others, they would have no chance. Chapter 1130. Therefore, Savon Geese and Malajben were unwilling to leave in front of Shuya. Nothing. We just want to chat with Miss Shuya and get to know each other more. Savon Geese smiled. After Shuya heard it, she frowned again. In her opinion, these two people probably took the opportunity to change the way to get close to her. Since the hard approach didn't work before, they used a soft approach. I'm a little tired. I want to rest alone. If you two have other things, then go ahead. Shuya said faintly. Her words already had a hint of eviction. However, Malajben didn't know it. He sat on the chair next to Shuya and said with a smile, "It's okay. Anyway, we are also idle. Let's accompany Miss Shuya to rest." Savon Geese listened to Malajben's words and secretly thought, this kid still knows how to talk, so he also sat on the other side of Shuya. The two of them sandwiched Shuya in the middle, one on the left and one on the right. Shuya was secretly disgusted, but she had to be perfunctory on the surface. "Both of you are in the limelight. Many girls over there are looking forward to meeting you." Of course, Shuya didn't say the second half of the sentence. That was, "There are so many women waiting for you, so you don't bother me anymore." For the Orientals who only spoke half of the sentence, Savon Geese and Malajben obviously couldn't understand the essence of it. Savon Geese said, "How can those mediocre women be compared with Miss Shuya?" Shuya was a little helpless. She didn't know if this person really didn't understand or was pretending not to understand. The actions of Malajben and Savon Geese naturally fell into the eyes of Yang Ming. He thought that these two people were sincerely apologizing, but he didn't think that they still had impure intentions. A leopard can't change its spots. What Yang Ming saw, Wang Xiaoyan naturally saw it too. She couldn't help but curse, "Yang Ming, why don't I kill them? Anyway, no one will know." Yang Ming was a little speechless. "I just said not to fight and kill in the future, and then I changed it to kill. What is the difference between this and fighting and killing?" Seeing old Buffon, who was snickering, Yang Ming couldn't help but point at him. Wang Xiaoyan immediately understood Yang Ming's meaning. Yang Ming was saying that there was a third party present. How could no one know? Therefore, Wang Xiaoyan's gaze followed Yang Ming and drifted to old Buffon. Old Buffon was shocked at once. He broke out in a cold sweat and said quickly, "I didn't hear anything, and I don't know anything." This mistress was much more valiant than master. How could old Buffon dare to offend her? When Yang Ming saw old Buffon like this, he couldn't help but find it funny. He comforted, "Old Buffon, you don't have to be like this. You are my apprentice, so you are considered one of us. Yen Yen won't kill you to silence you." "That's right, that's right." Old Buffon breathed a sigh of relief and said, "If it weren't for my kung fu being too inferior, I would have volunteered to help master's wife deal with those two bastards." As Yang Ming was talking, he suddenly saw Malajben's hand become a little dishonest. He wanted to hug Shuya's waist from behind. Yang Ming was suddenly anxious. He didn't wait to say anything to Wang Xiaoyan. He quickly stood up and walked in the direction of Shuya. "Miss Shu, hello. I have admired you for a long time. I don't know if I can do you the honor of dancing with me?" Although Yang Ming's clothes were extremely ordinary, his movements were very elegant. Shuya was feeling uncomfortable and at a loss. Suddenly, she heard a very familiar voice in her ear. She was stunned and looked up, but she found that Yang Ming was looking at her with a smile. Shuya was dumbfounded at the time. She couldn't believe her eyes. How can I meet Yang Ming here? In this foreign country, Shuya could meet the person she missed day and night. This made it difficult for her to accept for a while. She even thought that she was in a trance, and she had a feeling of hallucination and auditory hallucination. Shuya shook her head and felt that the pressure of her work during this time was really too great. She had hallucinations. Although she missed Yang Ming, this kind of trance was not a good phenomenon. It was the precursor of mental weakness. Therefore, Shuya didn't think that Yang Ming appeared in front of her, but she thought that she really missed Yang Ming. Moreover, at this time, if Yang Ming could be around, he would definitely help her out. That was why such a situation happened. "Who are you?" Malajben was about to successfully hug Shuya's waist, but he was interrupted by Yang Ming. He suddenly became furious. He stood up suddenly and no longer cared about his demeanor. He pointed at Yang Ming's nose and roared, "Do you know who I am? You actually dare to ruin my good deed? Who the hell are you?" Yang Ming didn't have a good impression of Malajben. When he saw Malajben yelling at him, his face immediately sank. This is the young master of the city's mayor, Mark Vader, Malajben. At this time, a follower brought by Malajben immediately rushed up. This was the opportunity for him to show his skills. He was worried that there was no chance to appear. After this minor character said this line, he looked at Yang Ming proudly with a smug smile. Generally speaking, when he finished this sentence, no one dared to do it again. Although in the European political system, a city mayor couldn't cover the sky with one hand, people in the upper class knew that the mayor didn't represent a person, but a very powerful force. If each mayor, governor, and even president didn't have one or even a few strong supporters and big consortiums behind them, they couldn't get votes. Therefore, the name of the mayor's young master was still quite scary. After all, no one was willing to provoke such a powerful person. Oh. Yang Ming glanced at Malajben and said faintly, "This motherfucker, young master, I hate it when others point fingers in front of me. This is a public place, so I won't make you disabled, but I hope there won't be a next time. You." Although Malajben didn't know what motherfucker meant, it didn't sound good. Moreover, the most infuriating thing was that Yang Ming said what he wanted to say. If this wasn't a public place, he would have already asked his men to clean up Yang Ming. Would he still allow Yang Ming to point fingers in front of him? As a matter of fact, several of his men were good fighters in the underground boxing arena. One punch could probably beat this Oriental man in front of him into a meat patty. As I said, I don't want you to do anything to me. My patience is limited. Yang Ming glared fiercely at Malajben, hoping that he could stop. Otherwise, Yang Ming didn't mind making him unable to take care of himself here. Malajben was about to explode. He had not suffered this kind of humiliation in this city, so he was a little anxious. Regardless of the public place, he waved his hand and ordered his men to take Yang Ming out to fix him. Savon Geese saw that something was going to happen, so he quickly stopped Malajben and coughed. He meant that we have more important plans. Don't create more problems. Malajben also realized this. He frowned and endured this resentment. He snorted, "If it weren't for Savon Geese, would never let you go easily today. Okay, now you hurry up and get out." Yang Ming glanced at Savon Geese coldly, and then said, "And you, that stupid plague chicken death, I am very unhappy with you. I hope you will pay attention to me. I don't want to kill people, but I don't mind killing you." Savon Geese's face suddenly changed. Just now, it was Malajben who was insulted and threatened by Yang Ming. It was nothing for him, but now it was different. Now it was his turn, so he couldn't sit still. However, when he thought that there was still something important to do, he had to endure it. "Miss Xu, will you not give me this face?" Yang Ming smiled and once again extended his hand to Shuya, who was sitting there stupidly. Shuya was completely dumbfounded. Until Yang Ming warned Malajben and Savon Geese, Shuya realized that the person in front of her was really Yang Ming. Yang Ming really appeared here. Shuya felt that every time she encountered difficulties, Yang Ming would suddenly appear, just like the last time on the Alice. This time, it was the same. This made Shuya feel a little sweet in her heart. She felt that she and Yang Ming had telepathy. She happily extended her hand and shook Yang Ming's hand. Her mouth moved. She wanted to say something, but she was stopped by Yang Ming's eyes. Yang Ming didn't want to create any trouble for Shuya. Although there were no reporters here, it was better to be careful. He hooked Shuya's palm with his finger, and Shuya's face suddenly turned red. She naturally understood the meaning of Yang Ming. The two looked at each other, and everything was understood without words. Shuya stood up and walked to the dance floor with Yang Ming. The people on the dance floor suddenly became restless. Shuya was originally the highlight of the entire banquet, but because Malajben and Savon Geese were beside Shuya, other people had no chance to get close to Shuya even if they wanted to. Now, seeing that Shuya was actually dancing with an oriental man that they had never seen before, they were a little surprised. However, most of these people looked at Yang Ming with envious eyes. After all, their status was not as prominent as Malajben, so they knew that they were not qualified to get close to Shuya. However, Malajben and Savon Geese were extremely upset. Savon Geese had invited Shuya to dance before, but Shuya refused with the excuse of being tired. But now, she accompanied another man to the dance floor. This was what he could not tolerate. Moreover, he gave Shuya red wine with a drug. Seeing that the drug was about to take effect, Yang Ming ruined his good deed. How could he not be angry? However, Savon Geese was more mature than Malajben. He could not understand Yang Ming's background. In this city and even the entire state, he knew almost all the upper-class figures, but he had never seen Yang Ming. He did not know his identity and who invited him to this party. Therefore, although Savon Geese was angry, he did not make any extreme moves because of this reason. After all, although his father was the lieutenant governor, there was still the governor above. He was not as arrogant and brainless as Malajben. Otherwise, he could not make the company so big. He dared to touch Shuya because he felt that Shuya's background was not strong enough in his eyes. No matter how powerful he was in Hong Kong, it was only Hong Kong. Could he reach out to Europe? Obviously, it was impossible. But he did not know the identity of Yang Ming. Although he was not afraid of anything, when it came to his father's identity and status, he was not someone who could be easily bullied. Most people could not shake his father's position. It was just that Savon Geese felt that there was no need to make enemies with Yang Ming at the moment. After all, it was very unwise to make an enemy because of a woman. Now what Savon Geese was thinking about was how to let Shuya leave Yang Ming's side. Otherwise, when the drug took effect and she was sent to the hospital by Yang Ming, their plan would be completely ruined. It would not be so easy to do it a second time. Savon Geese, I can't help it. Let me teach this kid who doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth a lesson. Malajben couldn't help but say. Wait a minute. I have never seen this person before. I don't know what kind of person he is. It is not worth making an enemy for a woman. Savon Geese waved his hand and said, let's take a look first. Okay. Since Savon Geese had spoken, Malajben had to give up. Yang Ming, is it really you? Shuya did not believe her eyes. Indeed, things came too suddenly, giving her an unreal feeling, as if she was in a dream. Of course, it is me. Yang Ming smiled and nodded. Little ya, in fact, I came here this time because I have something to do. Just like the last time I met you, I did not come through the normal way, so I just wanted to look at you silently and then leave. But I didn't expect that the mother and the silly chicken kept harassing you. I really couldn't stand it anymore, so I came over. Ah. Shuya had already remembered what happened on the Alice last time. Yang Ming killed Dorsk. Did Yang Ming also come to kill this time? However, for these things, Yang Ming did not say anything, and Shuya would not ask more. She just listened to Yang Ming's misinterpretation of the two people's names. She could not help but feel a little amused. She rebuked, don't just curse people. What mother, that, it sounds so bad. Hee, maybe I heard it wrong. I thought the names of these two people were quite unique. Yang Ming pinched Shuya's palm and comforted her, you don't have to think too much. In fact, it's nothing. Sometimes you don't have to work so hard. Just do what you like to do. If it's just to make money, our family's money is enough for several lifetimes. Yang Ming's words suddenly made Shuya's face turn red, especially when Yang Ming said the word our family, which made Shuya ashamed. She shyly replied in a soft voice, I understand. Next time, if there is such a situation again, what if I am not by your side? Don't you want me to worry? Yang Ming sighed and said. Then I will listen to you. In the future, I will develop the Asian market with peace of mind. There is father and your power over there. No one can do anything to me. Shuya saw that Yang Ming cared about her so much. She felt warm in her heart and said, "It's not that I don't want you to develop the market here. If you really want to develop the market here, I can introduce you to someone. With him as your backer, I believe that no one in the whole of Europe will dare to have any ideas about you." Yang Ming also knew that restricting Shu Ye's development was not the most fundamental solution. The most fundamental solution was to remove these troubles and let Shu Ye gain a foothold here once and for all. No one dared to provoke her. "Do you know someone here?" Shu Ye was stunned and asked. "I have accepted an apprentice. I will introduce him to you another day." Yang Ming smiled. "Okay." Shu Ye suddenly leaned over and then let out an, "Ah, what's wrong?" Yang Ming suddenly asked with some concern. "Nothing. Maybe I haven't recovered from the jet lag. I am a little confused. I will go to the bathroom to wipe my face and touch up my makeup." Shu Ye whispered. "You are very beautiful even without makeup." Yang Ming smiled. "That won't do. I always need to put on some blush in public. Otherwise, when I am too pale when I take photos, it will be scary." Shu Ye shook her head and explained. "Hee, I don't understand these." "Then you go. Do you want me to accompany you?" Yang Ming didn't understand these professional knowledge, but Shu Ye must have some reason to say so Yang Ming no longer insisted. "I am going to the women's bathroom." "How are you going to follow me?" Shu Ye rolled her eyes at Yang Ming and smiled. "Well, you go and come back quickly. I will wait for you over there." As Yang Ming said this, he pointed to the position on old Buffon's side. Okay. Shu Ye reluctantly let go of Yang Ming's hand and walked in the direction of the bathroom. Shu Ye didn't know why, but she suddenly felt a little dizzy. She was a little confused, so she wanted to go to the bathroom to breathe in the outside air and wash her face with cold water to wake herself up. After all, she had to deal with it anyway before she could go back to the hotel to rest. Shu Ye walked quickly in the direction of the bathroom, and Malajben and Savon Geese obviously noticed Shu Ye's move. Savon Geese was suddenly delighted. The drug worked. It seems that Shu Ye is going to the bathroom. Let's find a way to follow her and then take her to the car. Hee, great. Malajben was also excited. The two sneaked out from the back door of the venue and then quickly ran in the direction of the bathroom. Yang Ming's gaze had always been on Shu Ye, but because Shu Ye went to the women's bathroom, Yang Ming had to take back his gaze. It was fine to look at Shu Ye. After all, she would be his woman sooner or later, but it was not good to look at others. Yang Ming was not a voyeur. His heart was very normal. At this time, it was somewhat inappropriate to look again. Chapter 1131. How was the exchange just now? Looking at your affectionate look, I am a little envious. Wang Xiaoyan glanced at Yang Ming and said. Really? Yang Ming was a little embarrassed. I didn't pay attention at the time. It can't be like what Wang Xiaoyan said, right? If it is, it won't be good if outsiders see it. Hee, I'm lying to you. Wang Xiaoyan said, at most, it's just I flirting. Isn't that the same? Yang Ming was a little helpless. Old Buffon just noticed that there seemed to be a little ambiguity between Yang Ming and Shu Ye, but after all, it was far away, and he couldn't see it clearly. Now that Wang Xiaoyan said so, he felt that it seemed to be true. He couldn't help but admire his master. Malajben and Savon Geese were entangled for a long time, and Miss Shu Ye was not tempted. When his master came out, he just reached out his hand, and Miss Shu Ye danced with his master. This is enough to show that his master's charm is infinite. Right, what are you going to do with the two bastards? Asked Wang Xiaoyan. You mean Ma La Dabai and Ji Feng Dai? Yang Ming waved his hand. Let them be. This is a public place. If I meet them outside in the future, I will just teach them a lesson. Ma la bai. Ji feng dai. Wang Xiaoyan was stunned, and then she laughed out of breath. Ha 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 ha. Yang Ming, you are really something. You can even think of this kind of homophone. Is master an ordinary person? Old Buffon was proficient in Chinese culture, and naturally understood the meaning of Yang Ming's two sentences. He also laughed and echoed, these two names are too appropriate. Although old Buffon was proficient in Chinese culture, he did not learn the essence of it, such as the culture of flattery. Now old Buffon's flattery was a bit too obvious, making Yang Ming a little dumbfounded. By the way, where did Shuya go? Why don't you bring her over to meet me? Wang Xiaoyan suddenly remembered that Yang Ming came back by himself, so she asked. Shuya said that she was a little dizzy. Maybe it was jet lag, so she went to the bathroom to wash her face and get some fresh air. She will be back in a while. Yang Ming said. Okay, then let her come over later. Wang Xiaoyan nodded, and suddenly said with some surprise, Huh? Where are those two fellows? Where did it go? Which two guys? Are you talking about Mama La Bitch and Stupid Plague Chicken Death? Yang Ming was stunned and asked. I've been paying attention to the two of them. I felt that they were sneaking around, so I wanted to find a chance to teach them a lesson. I didn't pay attention to them, so how did they disappear? Wang Xiaoyan said. What? Disappeared? Yang Ming was shocked and stood up. Oh no, they may be waiting for an opportunity to make a move on Suya. After Yang Ming finished speaking, he quickly ran to the exit of the venue, and Wang Xiaoyan followed behind Yang Ming. Shuya felt a little dizzy, so she came to the bathroom. She thought it would be better, but she found that her eyelids were getting heavier and heavier, and her footsteps became heavier. It seemed that it was difficult to lift them up. Shuya took a deep breath and leaned her body against the door of the bathroom. She wanted to call for help, but she found that she had no strength to speak. She was in a daze, and her eyes became blurred. She slumped to the ground. All right. Malajben saw it clearly in the distance. He clapped his hands and said to Savon Geese, It's done. Let's go. Get her to the car. Don't let others see her, said Savon Geese. The two men walked forward quickly, then picked up Shuya and quickly ran in the direction of the underground parking lot. Because they were afraid of being seen by others, they did not dare to waste time on Shuya at this moment. They could only rush to the car first. What are you looking at? Why don't you come and help? Malajben yelled at one of his men. Yes. The man quickly said and helped Malajben to open the elevator door. They went in and rushed in the direction of the underground parking lot. Yang Ming knew from Malajben's previous actions and eyes that he had been coveting Shuya for a long time. If he met Shuya in a place where no one was around at this time, the consequences were simply unimaginable. Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan ran out. Old Buffon, as a disciple of the two, naturally followed and ran out quickly. When old Buffon ran, Lochlering did not know what happened. He did not care about the matter at hand and quickly followed old Buffon. Patriarch Buffon, wait for me. What happened? Lochlering shouted as he ran. But how could old Buffon have time to care about him? Although old Buffon did not understand why Yang Ming cared so much about Shuya, it seemed that the master's wife was not only not jealous, but also cared about Shuya's safety. This was really weird. In addition to admiration, old Buffon did not dare to neglect. He also knew that Yang Ming cared about Shuya. If something happened to Shuya in his own territory, then old Buffon simply had no face to see Yang Ming, his master. Yang Ming strode to the bathroom, but he stopped halfway because Yang Ming scanned the bathroom with his special ability. There was no one inside. Yang Ming's heart suddenly felt cold, and a bad idea floated in his mind. However, he could not panic in this situation, because even if Shuya was caught by Malajben and Savon geese, she must not have gone far. She should be around here. Thinking of this, Yang Ming quickly searched the vicinity with his special ability. When Yang Ming's gaze stopped at the underground parking lot, he suddenly stagnated. Yang Ming saw that Malajben and Savon geese were carrying Shuya into a Mercedes-Benz RV. Yang Ming saw such a scene and immediately shouted to Wang Xiaoyan next to him, "Downstairs, parking lot." Yang Ming was afraid that Malajben and Savon geese would drive away directly. In that case, although he could catch up with them, if they did anything to Shuya in the car during this time, then Yang Ming would regret it for life. So Yang Ming went crazy. Without waiting for the elevator, he ran from the emergency passage to the underground parking lot. When Yang Ming ran to the parking lot, Malajben and Savon geese had already entered the RV. At the door of the RV, there were 2 bodyguards guarding. Yang Ming ran to the RV and was stopped by the 2 people. "What are you doing?" Yang Ming did not have time to pay attention to the 2 people. He gently pushed aside with his hand, and one of the bodyguards staggered. He stumbled and almost knocked his head on the butt of the car. The other bodyguard immediately became anxious and reached for his pocket. Because most countries in Europe and the United States did not have strict management of firearms, it was common for private bodyguards to carry guns. Yang Ming did not want to do anything to these 2 bodyguards. After all, they were paid to help others. Stopping him did not represent their own will, but they completely obeyed the instructions of Malajben and Savon geese. Seeing that another bodyguard wanted to touch the gun, Yang Ming suddenly frowned. Just as he wanted to make a move, he saw a transparent dagger had been inserted into the neck of another bodyguard. Yang Ming suddenly smiled bitterly. He only wanted to stun the bodyguard, but he did not expect Wang Xiaoyan to directly stab him to death. It seemed that little girl Wang Xiaoyan was more indifferent to human life than him. Yang Ming had to admire that this little girl was more ruthless than him. Wang Xiaoyan pulled out the dagger without changing her expression. The bodyguard's neck was bleeding, and he fell to the ground. Obviously, he could not survive. Wang Xiaoyan was originally an assassin. The position of her attack was often fatal, not giving the opponent a chance to breathe. However, since Wang Xiaoyan killed the bodyguard, Yang Ming had no pity. As a bodyguard, he had to be prepared to die at any time. This was understandable. Yang Ming did not have time to kill these bodyguards, but he pulled the door hard and found that the door had been locked from the inside. Although Yang Ming had the lily key in his pocket, his mind was blank at the moment. He lifted his leg and kicked the door. Bang! The solid door of the RV was dented by Yang Ming's kick. Old Buffon secretly clicked his tongue. He thought, is this still a human? Such a thick steel plate can actually be dented by kicking. He couldn't help but think of the Terminator, a weirdo who was not afraid of being hit by a car. However, old Buffon was still very excited. If he could learn the essence of master, then he would be invincible. The old people at his age had to think about whether they could break their bones if they fell when they went out, but old Buffon thought about kicking the steel plate with his feet. Only old Buffon himself understood the gap and sense of achievement during this period. As for Wang Xiaoyan killing people, old Buffon did not feel that there was anything wrong with it. These things were trivial. He did not need to speak. His family would settle it for him. Old Buffon was like a godfather behind the scenes, controlling the economy, politics, and underworld of Europe. Bang! He kicked again. The door of the RV was dented again. The connection between the door lock and the door had been deformed. Obviously, there were signs of breaking. Savon geese, what the hell is this guy doing? The sweat on Malajben's forehead suddenly fell down. When Yang Ming had a conflict with the bodyguards, Malajben had seen it clearly in the RV. At first, he did not feel anything wrong, but when Wang Xiaoyan killed a bodyguard with a knife, Malajben was shocked. Although he had killed others before, it was done under very secret circumstances. After that, he spent a lot of money and connections to settle it. However, it was the first time that he had seen someone kill someone in public like Wang Xiaoyan did. It was the first time that he had seen someone kill someone in public. Especially when he saw that Wang Xiaoyan did not even frown after killing people, he was even more scared. Because such a person was a veteran killer at first glance, there was no tension after killing people. His own background was so strong. After he raped a girl to death, he was so scared that he did not sleep well for a month. Until the matter was settled, he still did not dare to go out for a long time. Now, looking at other people compared to him, he simply did not call it killing. She was really ruthless. Originally, he was surprised enough by this, but after seeing Yang Ming kicking the door, Malajben was really scared. Although Malajben was shocked by Wang Xiaoyan's murder, he was not scared to the point of panic. After Yang Ming kicked the door, he also made fun of Yang Ming for being a fool. This RV was bulletproof. How could it be so easy to dent it? Don't worry about what he does. Damn it. This guy is not human. Hurry up and drive away from here. Savon Geese was also scared. According to Yang Ming's kick, the door would definitely be kicked down in a few kicks. If he got on the RV and was kicked, wouldn't he be kicked to death? Thinking of this, Savon Geese could not sit still and quickly ordered the driver to drive. The driver was also scared at this time. When he heard Savon Geese's words, he quickly started the car. Yang Ming was worried about Suya's safety, so he did not think so much. At this time, when he heard the sound of the car engine, he was shocked and understood what they wanted to do. Yang Ming's mind immediately sobered up. He grabbed the bodyguard on the ground and took out a pistol that had not been used yet. He fired a shot at each of the RV's wheels. In an instant, the RV lost its balance and fell to the ground. Although it was still moving forward, it could not run at all. When Malajben saw this scene, he quickly took out the phone and dialed the number of the police. Hello, I am Malajben, the young master of the city's mayor, Mark Vader. I was attacked by thugs in the underground parking lot of the private clubhouse at XX Road. The situation is critical. Please leave and send someone to rescue. Malajben said in one breath. Now he had to ask for help from the police because Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan were too fierce. With the pistol in his hand, Yang Ming remembered that it was more convenient to open the door lock with a pistol than with his feet, so he aimed at the door lock and fired 2 shots. Although the RV was bulletproof, the lock was not bulletproof. After 2 shots, the lock was destroyed. Yang Ming kicked again, and the entire door was immediately kicked down. Malajben and Savon Geese looked at everything that happened in front of them in horror. The two of them were used to being unruly. When they went out, they were accompanied by bodyguards. They did not encounter any dangerous situations at all. This was the first time they encountered such a situation. Where is Shuya? Yang Ming rushed into the car and shouted at Malajben and Savon Geese, who were at a loss. However, there was no need for them to answer. Yang Ming had already seen Shuya lying on a sofa in the RV at the moment, motionless. Yang Ming's heart was cold. He grabbed Malajben's hair and pulled him up. What did you do to her? Malajben was in pain and yelled, "Let go. My dad is the mayor of this city, Mark Vader. Do you know what you are doing?" How could Yang Ming care about who his dad was? Now, Yang Ming was no longer the high school student Yang Ming. When Yang Ming dealt with Wang Jitao, he would take into account Wang Shifan's background. But now, even if the King of Heaven came, Yang Ming would kill him without hesitation. Initially, Malajben did not speak, but this made Yang Ming even angrier. Death is at hand, and he still doesn't know how to beg for mercy. He actually pretends to be badass in front of me, claiming that XXX is his father. Isn't this looking for death? Yang Ming slammed Malajben's head against the window of the RV. This time, Yang Ming was still not satisfied. He continued to crazily hit Malajben's head. It was easy for Yang Ming to kill Malajben, but Yang Ming was almost crazy at the moment. These people wanted to make a move on his beloved Suya, which made Yang Ming almost lose his mind. Yang Ming even forgot the killing technique and forgot the acupuncture point. He just blindly beat Malajben in the most primitive way of fighting. However, only this way, Yang Ming was still not satisfied. Yang Ming also realized that if this continued, it would only make Malajben die faster. Now, Yang Ming didn't want Malajben to die directly. Yang Ming wanted revenge, a crazy revenge. Yang Ming released his hand that grabbed Malajben's hair. Malajben didn't even stand up, and he fell to the ground. He had been knocked unconscious. Kaka. For crisp sounds, Malajben's limbs were broken by Yang Ming. Malajben howled and woke up with pain. Yang Ming knew that Malajben had lost his ability to act. He didn't need to care about him for the time being. He couldn't run away, so he walked quickly to Shuya and hugged her in his arms. "Littleya, are you awake? Littleya?" Shuya's breathing was steady, but there was no sign of waking up. Yang Ming opened Shuya's eyelids and looked at it. Her pupils were a little dilated. It should be the phenomenon after taking drugs. Suddenly, he was angry. He turned around and continued to teach Savon Geese. Savon Geese was frightened by Malajben's tragic appearance. He wanted to take the opportunity to slip out of the car, but Wang Xiaoyan was at the side. How could she let him go? Seeing Yang Ming like this for Shuya, Wang Xiaoyan's heart was slightly sour. However, when she thought of the time in Country X, Yang Ming always thought about her safety. Many times, he was the one who took risks and didn't let her intervene. Wang Xiaoyan's heart was a lot more balanced. Maybe one day when I have an accident, Yang Ming will also be like this, right? However, such opportunities were obviously not too many. Wang Xiaoyan kicked out and just kicked Savon Geese's crotch. Savon Geese's eyeballs immediately protruded outward, and the cold sweat on his forehead came out. He covered his lower body and squatted on the ground with a twisted face. Wang Xiaoyan would not be as coy as the average girl. She would not attack these more embarrassing parts. Wang Xiaoyan was an assassin. She emphasized fatality, so she would also choose these fatal places. Old Buffon watched from behind, and he was even more sweaty. He opened his eyes today. Master's wife seemed to be more ruthless than Master. Here, the most anxious one was Lochlearing. Shuya had an accident here, and it was done by Malajben and Savon Geese, which made him very embarrassed. However, what was even more difficult was that old Buffon's guests actually participated in it. Not only did they kill a bodyguard of Malajben, but they also directly beat Malajben into a semi-disabled state. Lochlearing's brain began to work quickly. He knew that this time, he must have a position. Chapter 1132. In the current situation, if he still maintained an ambiguous attitude, it was the most undesirable. Indeed, he maintained a bystander attitude and did not help either side so that he would not offend anyone. But afterward, the people from both sides would not look up to him. Therefore, Lochlearing decided to switch sides. Although he was Mark Vader's man, his other identity was also Patriarch Old Buffon's man. Weighing the pros and cons, the size of the forces between the two groups, it was obvious that Patriarch Old Buffon's side had completely overwhelmed Malajben and Savon Geese's side. Although one of the two men's fathers was the mayor of the city, and the other was the lieutenant governor, they were overshadowed by Old Buffon. According to the gossip, the presidential election was inseparable from the support of Old Buffon, let alone a lieutenant governor. Therefore, Lochlearing immediately realized that it might be a good opportunity for him to take a clear stand on Old Buffon's side. An opportunity for him to reach the top in one step. Now, Malajben and Savon Geese had angered Patriarch Old Buffon's guests. From Old Buffon's current attitude, it could be seen that Old Buffon did not stop Yang Ming from beating people to death. Who was Old Buffon? Since old Buffon acquiesced to this happening, it was enough to prove that old Buffon had enough ability to settle this matter. Even old Buffon did not put the forces behind these two men in his eyes. If Mark Vader fell from power, who would benefit the most from it? Obviously, it was not Patriarch old Buffon. It was very easy for others to get rid of you, and Patriarch old Buffon would not be interested in your position. In this city, there were only two popular candidates for the previous mayor. One was Mark Vader, and the other was him, Lochlearing. Although Mark Vader also hired Lochlearing as the deputy mayor after he took office, Lochlearing refused. Instead of being the deputy mayor, it was better to be a councillor. However, if Mark Vader fell this time, then the mayor's position would be vacant. As a result, the possibility of him being promoted would be very high. Thinking of this, Lochlearing was excited. When Yang Ming saw that Savon Geese was kicked in the crotch by Wang Xiaoyan, he was relieved. However, Yang Ming did not intend to let Savon Geese off easily. Yang Ming could already tell from Shuya's symptoms that she had been drugged with a kind of sleeping pill. Judging from Shuya's previous symptoms of confusion and sleepiness, this was not the kind of aphrodisiac that would not cause any harm to the body. As long as she woke up from her sleep, she would be fine. Therefore, Yang Ming wasn't very worried about Shuya's situation, so he had the time to teach these two scums a lesson. However, regardless of whether Shuya's situation was serious or not, these two guys dared to drug Shuya and had bad intentions. Yang Ming couldn't easily let them go. Malajben was already out of breath, and Savon Geese was just kicked. Yang Ming kicked Savon Geese's head and directly kicked him to the ground. What did you give Shuya? Although Yang Ming probably determined that Shuya was fine, it was still better to confirm it. If there were any harmful substances in it, Yang Ming would regret it for life. No. Nothing. Savon Geese had learned from Malajben's mistake. He did not dare to be tough in front of Yang Ming. Yang Ming did not care about Mayor Mark Vader and probably did not care about his lieutenant governor's father, so Savon Geese knew better than to fight when the odds were against him. He quickly lowered his voice and said, "It's just an ordinary sleeping pill." Yang Ming was relieved after listening to Savon Geese's words. Is it really just an ordinary sleeping pill? It's true. I don't dare to lie to you. Savon Geese just hoped that the police could hurry to rescue him at this moment. Otherwise, God knew how this Oriental man would deal with him. Don't move. The people inside, you have been surrounded. Suddenly, a few strong lights came from the underground parking lot. A team of heavily armed policemen rushed in. The leader was holding a microphone, and the others were holding guns. Please raise your hands and put down your weapons, or we will not be polite, shouted the leader. Ah! Savon Geese seemed to see a savior and shouted, Bureau Chief Norton, it's you. Come and save me. I am Savon Geese. Bureau Chief Norton received a call saying that the mayor's young master, Malajben, was attacked by the thugs. He did not dare to neglect and immediately led his men to rush over, but he did not expect that the lieutenant governor's young master, Savon Geese, was also attacked. This gave Norton a headache. If things didn't go well, he might have to take the blame and resign. Thinking that the thugs attacked were actually the mayor's young master, Malajben, and the lieutenant governor's young master, Savon Geese, he was furious. Aren't these people too blind? Can you provoke these two people? Norton shouted, the thugs inside, listen up. If you don't surrender, we'll shoot. Norton thought, anyway, if something happens, your father will take care of it. I can only be credited for saving people. It is impossible for me to make any mistakes. Since Lochlearing had already made a decision, when he saw Norton shouting at this time, he was a little annoyed. He walked quickly to Norton's side and glared at him. Bureau Chief Norton, what are you doing? Ah. Mr. Lochlearing, why are you here? Norton was in a mess just now, and he did not notice that Senator Lochlearing was here. He was stunned when he saw him. This is my private club. I am naturally here. Although Lochlering was only a senator, his influence in the city was not small. It was unknown whether Mark Vader could be re-elected. At that time, it might be Lochlering who would come to power. Therefore, Norton did not dare to neglect Lochlering. It turns out that this is the case. I received a call from the mayor's young master, Malajben. They said that they were attacked by thugs. Norton was a bit baffled. Logically, it was impossible for Lochlering not to know about this. Why is he still standing here leisurely and not stopping it? Although Lochlering was not afraid of Mayor Mark Vader, he could not be careless about this kind of major event. Thugs? Oh, you are talking about thugs. Lochlering nodded and said faintly, indeed, Malajben and Savon Geese kidnapped the celebrity, Shuya, as thugs. Now they are being stopped by the heroes who are acting courageously for justice. Norton's brain couldn't wrap around it for a while. Why are Malajben and Savon Geese thugs? This doesn't seem right, right? But the people who beat the two have become heroes who are acting courageously for justice? Bureau Chief Norton, I advise you not to get involved in this matter. This is not something you can get involved in. Just stand aside and watch quietly. Lochlering said coldly. Mr. Lochlering, although you are a member of Parliament, you can't reverse black and white and stop us from handling the case. Norton felt that no matter what, he had to rescue Malajben and Savon Geese first. Patriarch Old Buffon is standing over there. The people who beat Malajben and Savon Geese are important guests of Patriarch Old Buffon. Patriarch Old Buffon said that he is just a follower of these two distinguished guests. Lochlering saw that Bureau Chief Norton insisted on stopping it, so he had to tell him that Patriarch Old Buffon was here. What? Patriarch Buffon is also here? Bureau Chief Norton was shocked and looked in the direction that Lochlering pointed. Sure enough, he saw that Patriarch Old Buffon was standing quietly, looking coldly at the Mercedes-Benz RV. I have said what I should say. You decide for yourself. Lochlering snorted and said. Bureau Chief Norton regretted it for a while. What is this? If I knew that Patriarch Old Buffon was here, would not have come. This is great. Although Mark Vader is my immediate boss, I can't offend Patriarch Old Buffon. Bureau Chief Norton, save me. Seeing that the police did not respond, Savon Geese was anxious and shouted again. Yang Ming kicked Savon Geese's face. Savon Geese immediately made a woo sound, rolled his eyes, and couldn't speak. Norton didn't dare to go forward now. He quickly ordered his men to put down their guns, then he carefully walked forward and came to Old Buffon's side. He said with some subservience, Patriarch Buffon, hello. I'm the city's police chief, Norton. Old Buffon's eyes did not look at Norton. He just nodded slightly, indicating that he knew. Norton was not angry with Old Buffon's contempt, but he asked with some flattery, excuse me. Are the two young Oriental man and woman inside your friends? Friends? No. He was very contemptuous of Savon Geese's cowardly appearance, but at this time, it was time to stop. He had to stop. Behind his back, he could do whatever he wanted to Savon Geese, but in public, it was better to pay attention. Mr. Sheriff, please take these two guys away. My friend Shuya was drugged by them. They intended to violate her, but I discovered and stopped them in time. Yang Ming turned to Norton and said. Yang Ming also heard the conversation between Old Buffon and Norton clearly, so at this time, he directly issued an order to Norton. Okay, sir. Please rest assured, I will definitely bring these two bastards to justice. Norton promised. The two people who had been beaten were escorted to the police car, and Norton also led the police officers to leave Lochlering's private clubhouse. The whole process was neat and tidy. The parking lot, which had been full of screams, was restored to its former tranquility. Patriarch Old Buffon, I'm very sorry that such a thing happened. Locklearing said apologetically. Find a car and send Shuya to the hospital. Yang Ming picked up Shuya and said, hurry up. Even though Yang Ming had confirmed from Savon Geese that Shuya did not have any physical problems, he still had some anxiety in his heart. After all, the person who took the drug was Shuya. Even if there were a little side effect, it was enough for Yang Ming to feel distressed. I have called the best doctor in the city. They will be here soon. Locklearing said quickly. He had already called and invited the doctor over. This was also a show of loyalty to old Buffon. Thank you very much. Although the matter happened at Locklearing's place, in fact, Yang Ming also understood that this matter could not be blamed on Locklearing, so Yang Ming did not say anything to Locklearing. Since Locklearing also invited the doctor, then Yang Ming should thank him. You don't have to thank me. This is what I should do. Locklearing knew that Yang Ming's identity was honorable. How could he dare to accept Yang Ming's gratitude? He quickly waved his hand and said. Sure enough, it didn't take long for the doctor to come. Several doctors also knew the identity of Locklearing, but when they saw Locklearing being busy, they could guess that the identity of this patient was definitely not simple. They quickly took out a simple stretcher and then began a comprehensive examination of Shuya. From the analysis of the components extracted from the residue at the mouth, Shuya had indeed taken a common sleeping pill component, which had no major impact on the human body. After confirming that there was really no danger, Yang Ming was relieved. Doctor, what should I do now? Yang Ming asked quickly. According to the patient's current reaction, the amount of medicine taken is not large, so I personally do not recommend any medical means. The patient can wake up naturally after a few hours. What we can do is to give the patient gastric lavage. Although this can make the patient wake up as soon as possible, it will bring a lot of pain to the patient, so I don't recommend it. The doctor said carefully to Yang Ming. Although he was an emergency doctor in the city's most famous hospital, he also knew that these upper-class people were not easy to serve, especially those who even Locklearing had to bow down to. They did not dare to neglect, so the doctor waited again and expressed his opinion. Okay, then I will listen to you. Yang Ming nodded. Indeed, if Shuya's stomach was forcibly pumped, it would only increase Shuya's pain. This was what Yang Ming did not want to see. Wait a minute. I will prescribe some medicine for the patient. You can take it after the patient wakes up. In fact, it is some excretory medicine. It helps to expel the residual medicine in the stomach from the body, said the doctor. Then I will trouble you. Yang Ming thanked him. Shuya had no problem, so Yang Ming was relieved. Locklearing's cocktail party had to end early. Locklearing himself was also called to old Buffon's car and returned to Buffon Villa with old Buffon to discuss important things. Yang Ming was holding Shuya and sitting on old Buffon's extended Bentley. Wang Xiaoyan sat next to Yang Ming. Looking at Yang Ming's worried look, she advised, didn't the doctor say that? She will be fine. I know. Yang Ming sighed and said, it seems that I really have to assign a bodyguard to Shuya in the future. I will go and study with Li Cheng and train a group of female assassins. Then, I will let them protect your safety. Yang Ming naturally referred to all his women, including Chen Mengyan, Lin Jiyun, and the others. Although Wang Xiaoyan did not need protection, she was still very happy when Yang Ming said so. She smiled and said, I don't need it. It is not certain who will protect who. People who can hurt you need me to protect you personally. Yang Ming also smiled and said, who asked us to have special professions? Hee hee. Wang Xiaoyan heard that Yang Ming wanted to protect her personally. She suddenly smiled happily. It seems that my treatment is better than others. You're tuning into the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.